Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Craig, known as FTFE, stands for Floofy the Freedom Eagle, I think. I'm not sure, I don't know what my name is. Today we have Will back on. We've had him on a few times. He is an engineer that studied physics of engineering, and he has debated a couple of Flerfs on modern day debates. We covered his incredible debate with Flat Earth Aussie Jesus Iron Horse, where Iron Horse just understood absolutely nothing. And a couple of years ago he debated Witsit Gets It. You know, the guy that spat on his wife and got arrested for it and then called me a chubby cripple at DebateCon. That was fun. So, and we're going to cover that debate today. It is a massive debate, so we probably won't get through the whole thing, but we probably can pick up later in the week. So I hope you're looking forward to that. And if you do me a favor right now, just like the stream. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed and hit the notification bell so you never miss any of the streams or videos that I put out. Most importantly, please share the stream. That really, really helps the YouTube algorithms. I tell you what you could do is, I don't know, hack into MI5 and just replace all the top secret information with the URL to my stream. Guaranteed that will get some eyes on. I think might get in trouble. If you get in trouble, we haven't met. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, because this is a live stream, I'm going to play an intro. Gives people a chance to join if they've just got a notification, and that means I play a bit of music. Now if you're watching this as a VOD later on, you can just skip the music, tap the screen a few times. It's about 90 seconds ish. But if you're here live watching, then there is a rule, very simple rule. As I play the intro, you have to dance. I can see you, I'm watching, and if you don't dance, I'm going to send Daniel Pratt to your house. If you do dance, I'm going to send you a chocolate chip cookie.
Flat Earth expert Mark Sargent thinks the moon landing was a hoax.
Technically, the moon itself is a hoax.
Right, but betting with Sportsbet's new iPhone app?
I could do this standing on my head.
Thanks, Gravity. Sportsbet's new iPhone app. It's foolproof.
The FTFE show. Welcome to the FTFE show.
5, start dancing.
Welcome to the FTFE show. Earth think that evolution is real. Chemtrails don't exist, vaccines work. Climate change is happening, we landed on the moon. The FTFE show. Welcome to the FTFE show. Welcome to the FTFE show. Scooty, it's not alright. Baby, it's not alright.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hello, welcome back. How you doing? Hope you had a good week so far. It's Saturday, so if you're not out drinking, you're here watching me instead. Don't know what that says about your social life, but hey, we're gonna have Will on again and talk about his debate with Witsit Gets It. And just like before, I forgot to put the right thing on the screen, so let me actually sort this out. There we go. Hey, Will, welcome back to the channel, my friend. How are you doing?
Hey, Craig, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to have more people see this humiliating defeat by Witsit that I feel like it went pretty decent. So,
well, let's face it. Any time that Witsit debates is a humiliating defeat for Witsit. Like when he was at DebateCon 5 with me, and he debated, and there was questions afterwards. Right, I got up and asked the question of his opponent, but I started it by saying to my opponent, "I want to congratulate you on joining the long list of people that have beaten Witsit in debate," because that is quite a large long list. I don't think he liked that, actually.
Yeah, man, he's not just, is he losing every time? He's also super sensitive about it too.
Oh yeah,
he won't ever admit defeat. It's always something else is wrong. Never he's wrong. He just can't admit it.
Well, my favorite thing is when he was on InfoWars, and he tried to say that he's won every debate he's ever had because no one he's debated was of the right caliber. They weren't worthy, he said. What he said was, I've never debated anyone that's worthy enough, humbly. Yes, Witsit, that was so humble.
Oh my God.
That's extremely humble. Good job, mate.
He's above us. He's above us. He's just a better human, I think. Golly. Could you be
Hello
any
to everyone
better?
in the chat. How you doing? PhD Tony, glad to see you there, my friend. Mr. Eman Original Max, welcome back as always. Rudolph, Clive Wells, happy you were here. You weren't dancing. I'm sending Pratt to your house. Lindsay, nice to see you. Not been around for a while. And Rachbot, as always, I did program you, so you don't really get a choice. And of course, Rubiks has to be there because they are trapped in my basement and they do as I say, otherwise they don't get water for the week. Ah, man. I'm really getting like tired of having to keep captives alive. It's like I've got pets and I've got kids. Now I've got to fucking deal with a captive. Good lord.
Honestly, you are a pretty patient guy for dealing with the stuff that Rubiks is up to. It upsets me when I hear about the things you go through.
Yeah, I mean, they want water, they want heat, they want, they want to keep warm at night because I live in Scotland. I mean,
Is this
come on.
it's a 5-star hotel? Is that what that is? Come on.
I mean, I allow them to, not die of starvation, just about. I mean, that's enough, right?
They should say thank you.
Exactly.
They should be begging for the graciousness of you.
Hold on. Are you still crying? Well, yeah, I know there's a lot of rust down there, and... Well, no, I'm not letting you out to get a tetanus shot. Well, if you stabbed yourself on a bit of rusted metal, that's kind of your problem.
Not your fault.
Yeah, no, look, I can't listen to your whining, honestly.
It's not your fault, Craig.
No, I know. Fucking horrible. Anyway, so it was about 2 years ago you debated Witsit on Modern Day Debates.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. That was actually my first debate I ever did.
Oh, nice.
On Modern Day Debate at all. And I was actually a very excited, starry-eyed guy who was wanting to just get involved because I love arguing. I'm that kind of person. But this was the first time I was like, oh, it's going to be easy layup. It's going to be flat Earth. And they're like, okay, I got this guy Witsit to debate you. I was like, no problem. Flat Earth's going to be easy. And I started looking at Witsit's debate style, and he's very weaselly, I would say. And I started to get a little bit nervous because he is a way of trying to speak in very large words very quickly. And this is my first debate, so I felt very inexperienced. So I started to get a little bit nervous. Yeah. And so I prepared, I researched, and I got all my ducks in a row to make sure I wasn't going to be insulted by this guy.
Yeah, well, it's not very easy to be insulted by Witsit, who has the intelligence of a slightly retarded amoeba, frankly. You know what? I'm sorry to all slightly retarded amoebas. That was unnecessary.
There's nothing worse than him. And well, the worst thing about him was when I was preparing, I watched a lot of his debates, and there was one that happened like right before I debated him, where he was debating some globe earthers who were very, very unprepared. And Witsit was like, he was like being mean to them. Like they were very obviously not socially capable and like ready for the camera. And he was like he was like making fun of how they look and how they were talking. And he was like bullying these guys. And it made me so upset. I was like, okay, this isn't going to be like a nice civil debate. I'm going to try as hard as I can to humiliate Witsit on camera.
I find it hard to believe that Witsit has the goal to bully anyone when, like I've told people before, when he first appeared at DebateCon 5, we nearly got security to remove the homeless person that just walked into the hotel.
Yeah, that's the thing. He just doesn't seem super stable. Like he's not stable person, especially when he's getting arrested all the time and like abusing people,
abusing his wife.
No. So this guy is beyond.
PhD Tony in the chat says that I wasn't at his video premiere last night, and I'm still waiting for their note explaining his absence. I'm so sorry, Tony. I'm going to blame my new phone, where I hadn't set everything up properly yet, and only today when I went onto YouTube did I see all the notifications, but I haven't been getting actual notifications because I'd not clicked the thing on my phone for it to send me notifications. So I do apologize. However, I am going to pin Mr. Eman's comment with your video. So if everyone that hasn't watched it could do me a favor, after this, go and click on that video and put it in the watch later. Because you're here now, you're watching this stream, not PhD Tony's video. But if I'm not mistaken, it's the Lies That Flat Earthers Tell, which is episode 8, Earth Measures Flat. Because they have to lie and say that it measures flat. even though every measurement ever shows that it's curved, of course. Yes. Have you had that argument to deal with before, Will? Earth measures flat?
Well, if they will say every measurement proves the Earth is flat, right? There isn't any room for any, and that's how you know it's a dishonest take, because true, honest, scientific-minded people will never say, they'll try to avoid at least saying, this is absolutely true beyond any potential falseness, because we know there is no scientific concept that is beyond doubtableness. Like, you can doubt everything to a certain extent philosophically. And when someone like flat earthers are like, no, it's impossible, it has to be flat, there's no possible measurement could ever prove otherwise, it's like, okay, immediately you're wrong because you don't even understand how science works.
Yeah, the amount of times I have to explain that there's no such thing as scientific proof. That is literally a concept that does not exist. And like, they have surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah, that's like their introduction to, oh, science is always open to changing. And then they'll say, oh, well, they thought it was this way before and it changed here. It's like, yeah, that's the point, guys. It's supposed to, that's actually the good part about it, is that it changes.
Oh,
if it stayed the same,
changed
that's
the distance
dogma.
to the sun. Oh, it used to be 80 million miles. And then before that, it was 60 million. And yeah, that's because we got more accurate. And science is more than willing to go, we were wrong about that. Let's update our position. You know?
The alternative is dogma, and that's what flat earthers will always rely on.
I think even during the one of the recent eclipses, I think in 2022, right? Maybe 2023, like a few days before, NASA updated the path of totality by about 20 miles because they just got more accurate measurements of the sun, which made their predictive model better. And Flerfs went, see, they're changing their mind. No, we did a measurement and became more accurate.
If it was fake, why would we change it? If it was fake, wouldn't it be easier just to never change it? Isn't that more of a sign that it's fake, that it would never change?
That's like what I say with that they always say that NASA is CGI and fake and stuff, and I'm like, well, if NASA is just all CGI and fake, and they get like, you know, $20 billion a year or something, then their CGI would be the most flawless, perfect, unnoticeable CGI ever. Because how much did Avengers take to make? Like 230 million. And that CGI was pretty fucking good. You know, if NASA are getting 20 billion to make CGI, it's going to be, they're not going to have all these fucking glitches in because of video compression.
Yeah, video compression is something that is not, that's not what CGI even close to. It's just so ridiculous that they can't accept videos aren't perfect, obviously. And if we were making CGI, they would be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that's more evidence that it is real rather than is fake, actually.
Well, that's because all flat earthers are fucking idiots. Right, so let's get into this. This is Will versus Witsit. William Harris, you were going by a pseudonym back then, I believe. Witsit gets it when he really doesn't, and this was streamed 2 years ago on Modern Day Debates. Again, right now I'm kind of not going on Modern Day Debates because I honestly can't deal with the toxicness of the audience. But I will always be very thankful to Modern Day Debates for flying me out to America twice to do live debates. And I know they're possibly trying to talk to me about going out again, but we'll see what happens. Apparently Destiny is debating Rachel Wilson next.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah, Destiny's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I would say he's one of the better debaters that I think does a good job representing our side.
Oh yeah. I love the way he bullies right wingers as well. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I think we need more of that, especially on the flat earther side. We need a little bit more humiliation and less empathy.
Witsit once debated Destiny, right? And halfway through the debate, Destiny was like, "Wait, you're a flat earther? Oh, that explains why you're a fucking idiot."
Oh my god! Is the Earth round or flat? And he couldn't answer. Oh my god, it's so
that
good,
was brilliant.
Am I supposed to see the screen, Craig?
Oh no, I will share it to you now. Bear with me.
Okay. Yeah, I think you do really good at those live events. I think
Well,
I think you'd be
I thought I did really well at the Rachel Wilson one, especially considering I was still drunk.
Really?
I know, I'm convinced that Andrew Wilson rented out an entire bar the night before Rachel's debate just to get me pissed.
Oh my God. That's a strategy. I mean, I think you do really good. You're able to, make yourself articulate even under that massive pressure being in the room. But, I hope to see you in live sometime.
Well, I hopefully I get to do more in-person debates, but whether it's with modern day debates or not. But there is something we're getting organised with Simon Dan, a possible live tour that I will be involved in. So we could see what happens with that. It could be fun.
Yeah, where you go around debating?
Not just debating, but just on stage doing general stuff. But we're trying to get some debates as well. I think it's going to be called Simon Dan and Friends because, of course, it is.
That sounds sick. I want to see that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and can I just say, well, obviously, you have clearly lost weight since you were in this debate. You are doing incredible with your weight loss journey, my friend. I'm very proud of you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've trying to commit. This year is going to be the year for me to go from like 34% body fat down to hopefully sub 20s, and that's it's going to take a lot of time, dedication, but I've told everyone. I'm actually making videos on my YouTube about it. So if you're interested to see a little bit more about my journey, please follow me. I got an Instagram where I'm posting videos about it too. So it's a fun.
Just make sure
journey
you get as thin as Witsit there because he looks like, well, malnourished and like he would snap, to be honest.
He looks very frail, I would use the word.
He's always said that if anyone ever spoke to him in person the way that they speak to him online, he'd break their jaw. Yet my jaw remained unbroken.
Oh my God, he's all talk and no action. I'm shocked. I could never expect.
All right, you see it now? Okay. My name is William Harris. I'm an engineer. My degree was in engineering physics, specialization was in spacecraft systems.
Well.
I've had many courses in orbital mechanics and spacecraft design.
There you go.
Today, I want to explore this comparison of the predictive power between the globe model and the flat Earth model.
Oh yeah, right. The Watcher's correct. The part he told Destiny, he believes the US is a white Christian nation. Don't forget that part.
Who said that? It was white Christian?
Witsit said that the United States is a white Christian nation. Even though the founding fathers specifically said that it is based on religious freedom.
White Christian nation. Yeah, that anyone who says that, immediately they're bad faith. They're not,
or just fucking stupid.
It's the most obvious. If you know anything about American history, it's the first sentence of the Declaration of Independence says we're going to be we're going to have a freedom of religion type state. That's the first thing. So when they say that, they might as well just be saying also hail the mustache man.
I've had that debate on Modern Day Debates, actually, that someone was claiming that. And I'm just like, the founding fathers fucking disagree with you. Yet their argument was the founding fathers were Christians. It doesn't matter if they were Christians. And
if they wanted it to be Christian, it would use any of the Christian language in any of the founding documents, maybe. Like the word God would appear somewhere. Yeah. Except or Jesus or Christ or Protestant or anything. But no, it just happens to not.
Clive Wells points out that Witsit has 160 idiot quotient rather than intelligence quotient. Yes. Yeah. Witsit, do you know that he tells people he's got 160 IQ?
I didn't know he was so smart.
16, maybe. Or 1.6 possibly at a push.
This man couldn't calculate himself into. I'll never forget that when that other debater demanded him do one integral, and he was freaking out and oh my gosh, please, Ryan, stop the debate. I can't do an integral. Do you think you're smart?
And what do we observe in reality? The first point I want to make has to do with one of the most primitive proofs of a globe. It is the experiment from Eratosthenes. Essentially,
it's pretty similar
the globe
to
and the
my
flat Earth both would agree that as you go up in
other
latitude
intro.
across the Earth, a shadow would increase
this is
its
your
angle
intro.
more and more as you go higher in latitude. The question is not will it increase in angle. The question is what trend does the increase in angle take? How much does it increase in angle over the latitude? The globe would obviously predict that at the pole it would be a 90-degree angle. It would be an infinite shadow. But in the flat Earth, it could never be a 90-degree angle. It would never be an infinite shadow, obviously. So the question is, which one do we observe in reality? Of course, the globe is correct. We see these infinite shadows all the time.
They did something here that was kind of annoying. I think they had like a green screen applied to my video when I was, or my screen when I was displaying it. So you'll see whenever I had the color green on the screen, it colors it black for some reason. So all these words, they were supposed to have the word of like absolutely, I think that was the word absolutely in green, and it messed it up. So you'll see
there's
a couple weird
in
things.
Zoom you can just literally turn on like a green screen function. They must have had that on.
Yeah,
that's
what happened.
I love when flat earthers are like, well, Eratosthenes could have proved the Earth is flat. Well, kind of, because they just used 2 reference points, and it could like measure the distance to the sun on the flat, or the radius of the Earth. But that's why Eratosthenes experiments nowadays are done with much more points, like slice arcanes or Simon-Dans or something, or they just go, to be honest, sticks and shadows, meh.
Well, it's the fact that Eratosthenes, he wasn't testing if the Earth was round. That wasn't the point of the test. The test was measuring the radius of the Earth that he knew was round already.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question of if it's round, it's a question of how round is it? Because these guys knew it was round because the sun sets. Yeah. That's all you need. That's the one thing you need. The sun sets.
Like before Eratosthenes, like Aristotle had been like, well, the Earth's clearly a globe because the bottoms of the ships disappear and stuff. We'd known it for centuries before Eratosthenes did his experiment. Eratosthenes was just being like, well, if it's round, how round is it?
Yeah, it's not a matter of if it's round. Like the stars go down, the moon goes down, the Earth, the sun goes down, and it all happens to come up the other side. What kind of conclusion can you come to?
That Witsit's a fucking idiot.
There it is.
Next, star movement. A globe and a flat Earth model.
My
both agree
point,
that
exactly.
In the North Pole and point C, you would see a circular pattern of stars as they move across the sky. But when you get to the equator on a globe model, you would see stars go from east to west in a straight line across the sky. And on the South Pole, you would see them go in a circular motion again, but in the opposite direction of the North Pole. But in a flat Earth model, you predict that on the equator, you would see not straight line of stars going across the sky, but a curve of stars going across the sky on the equator. And at the point D on the South Pole, you would still see a curve of stars going across the sky, but just more straight. So definitely not a circle pattern. So the question is, which one do we observe in reality? Oh, we do observe the globe in reality. Sounds great. So we talked about star movement. Now we talk about...
Of course, Wits' explanation for stars being different in the north and the south is, I don't know, there's like a plane of glass at the equator or something. I'm not sure.
Planet
I think...
So assuming...
Sorry.
He says something to me. He says something like, in the debate, he even says, it's like, there's 8 quadrants in the sky and they all turn in different directions. And it's just the most... He's just trying to honestly, he's trying to confuse his audience because he knows his audience is manipulatable. Yeah. That's what he's really doing. Let's be honest.
I think we were on a globe that is orbiting a star, and there are other planets orbiting the star. We would predict that we would see these other planets and observe specific type of motions from them from our point of view. A really identifiable one would be retrograde. We would see this very specific pattern that you see on the GIF on the side of my screen if we were in that situation, that's to say. And what would flat earthers say about planet movement? They would say, I don't know what planets are. We don't know what those things are. We just lights moving across the sky. There's no way to know what they are or predict how they work or have any explanation for them. So which one has better predictive power and which one do we observe in reality? Of course, we do see planets having retrograde motion, exactly how the globe model would predict. Next. Lunar eclipses, it's a crowd favorite. Obviously, the only object that will always project a circular shadow is a sphere. And in a globe model, you would predict that you'd have lunar eclipses, and those lunar eclipses would always be circular every single time. The Earth is always at a different orientation for every lunar eclipse, so it'd be a circle every time, no matter what the orientation. The penumbra and the umbra would both be circular. And we would predict that we could pinpoint exactly when it would be observable and where exactly it would be observable down to the second. That would be predictable if we were in the globe. Now, if we're in flat Earth, what would they say about lunar eclipses? They would say, I don't know what that is. I don't need to explain what that is. There's no way to predict what they are or how they work or why they work. So which one has better predictive power? The globe does. We do predict these orbits down to the second, I'm mad at. We do predict these eclipses down to the second in reality and where they're observed, obviously, as well.
I love the flat is just what the fuck?
Yeah, so I obviously tried to give I tried to steelman both sides of the argument and just say, okay, this is what the globe predicts, this is what flat predicts. But I can't tell you what the flat would predict with something like a lunar eclipse. Because what the fuck would the flat earthers predict about a lunar? What are they going to say about it? They have nothing to say. So there's like these instances where you'll see like this one is like, I don't even know what to put to represent your side. Even if I'm trying to steelman your side as hard as I can't because it's that stupid.
Well, the only explanation I've heard is that there is an invisible body that gets in between the Earth and the moon. But that makes no sense because it's invisible. Then it wouldn't get in between them.
But it's a giant piece of rose-colored glass that goes around that covers the sky. But again, it's like, how do you? The only way you know it's there is because there's an eclipse. That's the only way. Like, there's no other measurable way you know it's there.
Yeah,
that might
We do
not be
predict these eclipses
Occam's
down to the
razor.
second, in reality, and where they're observed, obviously, as well. Constellations and the North Star. Both the globe and the flat Earth theory predict you will see the Polaris, the North Star, and the North Pole. But when we go to the South Pole, on the globe, you would see the Southern Cross on point D and point E. But on a flat Earth model, you'd predict you maybe would see the Southern Cross on point D, but you couldn't possibly see it at point E, right? Because it's on the opposite side of the planet. So what would you see in the night sky of point E? Well, they don't have really any explanation of what they would see because it would have been obvious, but there is no explanation for it, what they see there. They can't see the Southern Cross, that's a guarantee. So which one do we observe in reality? Yes, we can see the Southern Cross at point D and point E.
Loser.
Flight times. So this is real flight data observed in real time from flightaware.com. I encourage everyone to go do this and test these data
I looked
points
these data
live.
points
There's
up like the
thousands
day
of them
before
every
the
day.
debate.
Oh, you mean
Like,
the
these are real.
preparation? Oh no, unlike any flat earther ever. Still blows
Yeah.
my mind that Witsit went to Antarctica and still says the Earth is flat.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing. Like, what was going on? Why did he do that? I was so confused of why he even did that.
Well, because he's a grifter and a liar and can't like not say it because he'll lose his entire audience, even though that's happened anyway. Because no one liked him anymore after he went there because it proved that the Earth wasn't flat. Fucking hilarious.
But why would he go there knowing it's gonna make him look like an idiot?
Free trip to Antarctica. Who's going to turn it down?
Well, probably ruined his career. So
Oh, it
probably
did.
not a good idea.
He's even said that it ruined his life.
Flight to New Zealand is a 12-hour flight. It goes 7,000 miles. Seattle to London is a 9-hour flight. It goes 6,000 miles. It's not perfectly linear correlation between the time and the miles, but it's still generally reasonable, especially with the currents of air that go near Chile in the time of year. So this is what you would expect if we were on a globe. If we were on a flat Earth, I can't tell you exactly the travel times they should be because on a globe, they never have a good scale on exact distances for what a flat Earth map would have because the geometry doesn't make any sense. But you can obviously see that Chile to New Zealand would be about 3 times longer than Seattle to London. So is that what we see in real life? Does Chile to New Zealand have a 30-hour flight? The answer is no. The flight was 12 hours, not even close. The Coriolis effect. The globe has a Coriolis effect that dictates hurricanes in the north hemisphere and hurricanes on the southern hemisphere will rotate in opposite directions because the equator of the globe is spinning and moving much faster, and the wind is moving faster at the equator than it is at the poles. So it would be different from the north hemisphere versus the south hemisphere.
And the fact that no hurricane or storm has ever crossed the equator because the energy isn't there and they just fall apart.
Yeah, I actually added that graphic that the trail of all hurricanes over recorded history on my updated presentation because I saw that and I was like, that is the best.
Yeah, it destroys it.
For a flat model, you could argue there shouldn't be a Coriolis effect. But assuming there is, for some reason, a Coriolis effect, it would not change between the north hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. It would be consistent for both. It would be the exact same. Everything would be turning in the same direction for hurricanes. So the question is, which of these two do we observe in reality? Of course, we see the globe Coriolis effect in reality. Now, this is my last evidence-based argument. This is my favorite one. It's for gravity because it is the most observable, consistent topic in all of science ever since the beginning. Is just gravity. So you can observe it every single day, all day, from a micro scale to a macro scale. Micro being you throwing a ball to your friend with projectile motion, or tossing a nuclear bomb from one country to another using projectile motion and gravitational equations. It can also explain the existence of an atmosphere on a ball in a vacuum, because an atmosphere, although it is very, very low density, is still made of atoms, which still have mass, and mass is attracted to mass with gravity. That is the rule. So yes, the atmosphere will cling to the globe because the globe is a very massive object. That is why an atmosphere does not disperse into outer space. So it can predict we would have an atmosphere. We could predict the motion of the Earth around the sun and the motion of the moon around the Earth using gravity. We can predict the tides of our ocean using gravity, because the tides of our ocean is a product of the gravitational pull of the moon on the liquid on the ocean of our planet. We can predict the Earth and all other planets' motion in our solar system, as well as all the asteroids and comets that we see orbiting our star. We can predict the motion of the stars that orbit the galaxy and the motion of all the galaxies in our universe by using gravitational equations. It is the most validated concept in all of science, and to deny its existence...
But dark matter, derpy, derpy, derp.
Yeah, I think he does bring up dark matter in this debate.
No, none of them understand what dark matter is, because we don't even really understand it. We don't have no fucking idea what it is. We just see the effects of it.
We just see that it acts like mass.
Yeah.
It influences gravity. So it's matter because that's what matter is.
I was reading a paper the other day that I, to be honest, really didn't understand very much, but it said that dark matter might be basically particles folded into a hidden fifth dimension that gravity leaks out from.
My God, that's beautiful, I think.
Yeah.
I read something about I was reading something about how dark matter might be like atomic sized black holes. Something like that, because like if there were like black holes that were the size of an atom floating around in space, you wouldn't really see their direct influence on anything, because they would be so small and so dispersed out, but you would see their influence over the whole galaxy, holding the galaxy together potentially. Yeah. And I thought that was very interesting.
Well, I also read a paper recently that said that Sagittarius A, what we think is a supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, might not actually be a black hole, but a section of dark matter. But again,
it's interesting.
Yeah. Clive, PhD Tony, any thoughts on those things?
For a fish to deny the existence of water. So what is the predictability of the flat Earth when it comes to something like this? Nada. They don't have anything to predict this level of phenomena. So I finished with my evidence-based arguments, and now I want to talk a little bit, change it up, and talk about psychology. I want to talk about the psychology of flat Earth, and talk about why in the world does this theory still stick around? It cannot be because of evidence. It is not because of evidence, because every single opportunity that it could have to prove itself true, it fails and proves the globe is true every possible time. So why could it still exist? If it's not for the evidence, then why? It is because it's about the passion behind the idea. Because the followers of flat Earth are extremely passionate people. The followers, I want to characterize and profile the followers versus the leaders of flat Earth and contrast them. The followers of flat Earth are extremely passionate people. They're insatiably curious. They always want to know why, and the next step, why, and that's
so.
Awesome.
Before you continue, this slide is me trying to throw an olive branch out to any. So, okay. You'll see in this debate, and I still believe very firmly that flat Earth is a cult. It is a cult by almost every definition of the word cult. It is a cult, and cults have cult leaders, right? And I have empathy for cult followers because they are being misled into a bad direction. And I do think there is hope for some cult followers to potentially have a realization and see what's happening and maybe leave their cult. And this is me throwing an olive branch to those flat Earth followers who may have the hope to potentially see what's happening to them and maybe have the idea that this is a bad idea. I should not be a part of this. I'm being misled. Yeah. So that's kind of the purpose behind this slide here.
See, I've had this argument with many people, is flat Earth a cult? And I think when you compare it to like actually what cults are, it ticks every single box.
It is. It's just as much a cult as any other. It's just a completely fringe idea that's always going to be driven by very few amount of very strong leaders that are pushing it super hard because they know they're going to benefit from it. It's just a cult. It's undeniably, you know.
So I just saw a comment in my chat. Paul Schuber says, I think it's immoral to kill animals unless it's in self-defense, or if they're delicious, or if fun to hunt.
Oh my God. Jesus. A lot of caveats to that immoralness. Got a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, if we're not allowed to eat meat, why does it taste so good?
God, a cruel God making it taste so delicious.
I mean, sorry, but chicken's fucking gorgeous, all right?
Chicken? Poor chicken.
A
It's
distrust
not their
of
fault.
scientific institutions. And they can potentially have predispositions to believe in conspiracy and maybe have a little bit of paranoia as well. Now, let's contrast that to characteristics of flat Earth leaders. Flat Earth leaders are extremely charismatic and very articulate, as my friend Witsit is. Very charismatic and articulate man. But they are also extremely arrogant. They believe they know everything.
Did you feel slightly ill there saying my friend Witsit? I mean, I would have struggled to keep it down, you know?
It's obviously I wasn't being for real about that. It's more of trying to, again, be on the side of the flat earther and say, look, I understand why you're following this guy. Like, he talks a lot and he can sound smart to people who don't know a lot. So I know why you're following him, and it's okay to not follow him. It's okay to leave him. He's not as smart as you may think he is. Yeah, I don't like saying that.
When you scrutinize any of Witsit's actual ideas, you realize that he's not smart at all. He's dumb as a box of rocks, and I feel bad saying that because I may have insulted a box of rocks.
Learn of criticism, as that would project weakness to their followers, and they're exploitive of their followers. They will ask their followers to support them in their endeavors. And then we need to ask why? What is the incentive these leaders have to push misinformation that they know is false? Because these people are smart. So they know they're not pushing a good faith argument. But why would they want to do that? What incentive do they have? Well, number one incentive is pure fellowship. Having people be loyal to you and follow what you say is attractive. Having attention is attractive, even if you're not following them. I'm giving them attention right now. And that's another incentive they can have. A sense of superiority over their followers. When someone listens to you, that's always nice. And of course, they can make some money along the way as well. So if you have listened to nothing I've said tonight, if you have listened to nothing, just listen to this last part. This is the part that I want to make crucially aware of. This is the most important bit. No individual understands all of science. None. Despite what Witsit will tell you. No individual understands it all. An astrophysicist doesn't understand everything about quantum mechanics, and a quantum mechanist doesn't know everything about astrophysics. So when you are faced with an unintuitive or unexpected fact, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do not throw the universe out with a misunderstanding. Push Occam's razor to the forefront of your mind and understand it's far more reasonable that you don't have all the information rather than the model for the entire universe is wrong. And that
Sorry, I need to address something it said in chat. The Sanch says, if you're an animal and I'm an animal and there's no God, then there are no human rights. Human rights come from God. Without it, there's just mean. I reject that assumption completely. Human rights do not come from God. Human rights come from the agreement between other humans that we all deserve certain rights. God is nothing to do with human rights. That is a ridiculous thing to say.
It just sounds kind of bad faith because atheists talk about human rights. Do you think, what do you think an atheist is talking about when they talk about rights? Atheists don't believe in God and they know rights exist. So
yeah,
that's not how it works.
Rights exist because as humans, we've agreed those rights exist. Like the giving women rights. We agreed that women have rights. That had nothing to do with God. That had to do with women demanding rights and chaining themselves to railings and starving themselves and fighting for the rights that we now give them. Rights are nothing to do with God.
To be honest, rights is just a legal term. It really doesn't mean much more out of law because when you're in life, it's just, we just all think people should be given this thing. And a right is a legal term, meaning that's what we think. The people should have the thing. And people's rights can be taken away, right? They do it all the time, every time someone goes to prison. Rights is just something we think people should have. That's all it means.
Yeah. He says rights are
needed.
subjective without God, and you're getting emotional over subjective rights then. Well, actually, saying that God makes rights is the most subjective thing there is. Because they're subjective based on God. That's a dumb argument.
God's opinion on what rights people should have is still an opinion. It would still be a subjective concept. But yes, rights at the end of the day are as subjective as laws. if you want to try to frame it that way. If you think laws are subjective, then yeah, rights are as subjective as laws are. And it's a good thing it's subjective because we get to decide how it works that benefits our society the best.
Yeah, and if we want to live in that society, we have to agree to the rules that we've set up. So if it's subjective, yeah, sure, who gives a fuck? They still exist because we said so. Nothing to do with God.
Yeah, actually, I was reading a book and they talk about this concept called, it's not objective, it's not subjective, it's called intersubjective, which is kind of in between.
Yeah.
So intersubjective are things that exist not in a objective sense, and it's not up to the opinion of the individual, it's up to the opinion of the society. So for an example of a subjective concept is a country is a subjective concept.
Yeah.
Because countries don't exist in a measurable way, but countries do exist in the minds of everyone who lives on the planet Earth. So we all accept their existence even though they are not a scientific concept. And the rights and laws and companies and countries all exist in that intersubjective definition.
Agreed.
All scientists, almost every scientist, are liars or ignorant. And my last statement is, flat Earth leaders do not have some special power of understanding things better than everyone else. And please do not fall prey to their con. Thank you.
No, flat Earth leaders have the special power to misunderstand things better than everyone else. That is their fucking ability.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much for that opening, William. So that was right on 10 minutes or 12 minutes. So good job. It's on 12 minutes. Witsit gets it.
All right, there was a lot there, but for one, I want to see if we're going to keep the same energy of Occam's razor, which is that which requires the least amount of assumptions. That, of course, is terrible for the globe model. But one thing I want to cover real quick that can just end this whole entire discussion, it actually overlaps with the gravity thing. He said gravity is mass attracting mass, which is objectively not the case anymore.
So straight away, he's not doing his presentation. He's trying to debunk the things that you said. Does he not know what an opening argument is?
He just doesn't want to actually make a presentation because he didn't have one.
No.
I would say he just kind of talks and just hope there's some kind of something somebody considers coherent somewhere that's susceptible to it. He doesn't actually respect it, you know.
And he was wrong about Occam's razor as well. It says that when there's competing hypotheses that explain the same data, one should select the solution that requires the fewest assumptions out of those competing hypotheses. So the way that he phrased it was completely wrong. Yeah,
simpler is a lot more subjective than that definite. Like, if you want to be real about it, simpler is just a hand-wavy way to explain what Occam's razor truly means.
Yeah.
It's more than that.
Now, I haven't heard what he's about to say, but I'm going to guess he's about to say that Einstein superseded Newton, therefore gravity isn't mass attracting mass. Am I right? I reckon that's what he's about to say.
Yeah, you got to hear from him.
The Earth quite literally cannot be a ball that orbits the sun with mass attracting mass. Newtonian mechanics can't exist. And I'm sure we'll get into that. And I don't know why people have more. It can't be the case. The Earth quite literally cannot be a ball. Can just end this whole entire discussion. It actually overlaps with the gravity thing. He said gravity is mass attracting mass, which is objectively not the case anymore. It can't be the case. The Earth quite literally cannot be a ball that orbits the sun with mass attracting mass. Newtonian mechanics can't exist. And I'm sure we'll get into that. And
I'm sorry. I may have had a little stroke there, Will, but did he just say Newtonian mechanics can't exist?
So, yeah, you'll see. He's contrasting Einsteinian theory of relativity with contrasting with Newtonian physics, because to be fair, there is contradiction in Newtonian physics and relativistic physics.
Yeah, I mean, the contradiction comes in the fact that, Newton didn't really know what was going on and just made the assumption that gravity traveled instantly, which is something he said he didn't like. But it works absolutely fine in non-relativistic situations. If you don't have supermassive things traveling at massive speeds, Newtonian explanation of gravity works perfectly. Ft equals gm1m2 over r squared works absolutely perfectly. But it's just that Einstein is far more accurate. That's literally it.
You'll have to watch more because I would in the debate I say Newtonian physics is an approximation. That's the way I classify it. And approximations are wrong compared to more accurate models, such as relativistic physics. It doesn't mean they're not useful or generally correct in answering engineering problems. But yeah, you'll see.
We'll keep invoking it. But one thing I want to point out that I think is an easy way to kind of go ahead and end the conversation is we have an electric field on the Earth. Okay, so we have a uniform electric field. It's vertical on the Earth, and you can measure the electric field, right? It has equipotential lines. It's 100 volts per meter, meaning there's an equal increase of potential every 100 or every meter. It's 100 volts, right? So there's equipotential lines within a vertical electric field on the Earth, and it's uniform. Okay, this is physically impossible on a sphere. You can take a conductive sphere and put it in an electric field, and because the charge is distributed radially, it will not be uniform. This is a fact. You cannot have a uniform electric field on a sphere. So the very electric field we observe on the Earth proves that the Earth is in fact not a sphere, because again, there will be spherical radial distribution of charge. What you would have is concentric circles.
Well, he's just making an assumption. He's just saying, I mean, if you took any point on Earth, yeah, that electric field is vertical from where you are. But his argument is the Earth's not a ball, therefore it doesn't do this. But he's just talking about one single point. And that 100 volts per meter dissipates after, a while anyway. So, but yet above that point where it dissipates, things still fall down. So none of that makes any sense.
And I just don't understand. I really don't understand. He's just trying to confuse people again. Like if you are on a ball, you would have those radial, you would have the radial concentric drops in voltage going above the higher in altitude. And that wouldn't contradict the possibility of it being a circle. It would just be radial, but from a simplistic flat perspective, it would look like it would be flat layers. But obviously, a big globe would have a big radial increase in voltage. So
yeah,
this isn't contradicting anything.
Yeah, like PhD Tony says, he's taken the surface gradient and extrapolating it indefinitely, which is completely wrong, because the voltage gradient decreases with altitude. So at ground level, it's 100 volts per meter downward. But as you go up, it drops. By 50 to 60 kilometers, it's about 10% of that. Yet the gravitational acceleration is basically still the same.
Well, so, explain why things float in lightning storms, Craig.
Well, if what he's saying is true, yeah, when lightning strikes, everybody should start floating towards the fucking sky.
Yeah, which everyone obviously sees that happen all the time, right? That always happens.
Well, does
that never happen?
Flat Earth Jesus say to you that does happen?
Of course he does, because it happens all the time. I've floated up to the sky 7 times this month, Craig.
Yeah, I live in Scotland, man. There's like thunderstorms all of the time. We basically fly around in Scotland.
Yeah, it's like a big problem that we have so many protocols to try to compensate for. Yeah. It's a big issue.
That's how we deal with all the hills in Scotland. We just wait for a thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm, you can jump straight across the hill.
Yeah.
Come on.
Serving as your equipotential surfaces or lines, and then you would not have a uniform electric field. Now, just to read Feynman here to explain it, another thing that can be measured in addition to the potential gradient that we just discussed is the current in the atmosphere. The current density is small, about 10 microamps, crosses each square meter parallel to the Earth. The air is evidently not a perfect insulator, and because of this conductivity, a small current caused by the electric field we have just been describing passes from the sky down to the Earth. Okay, and you can measure it, you can run a...
Feynman said the Earth's a globe and gravity exists. So...
Apparently
not. Apparently Feynman was a flat earther, according to Witsit.
Generator off of it, actually. Now, the question would be, if there's constantly a downward electric current on the Earth, would that create a downward bias?
No.
Would downward electric pressure be caused by the downward electric current? The answer is, of course, yes. Yes, we would have a downward bias because there's always a downward electric current. To get more specific, although the electric current density in the air is only a few microamps per square meter, there are very many square meters on the Earth's surface. The total electric current reaching the Earth's surface at any time is very nearly constant at 1800 amps.
Yeah, but this isn't being affected by the current of the entire fucking planet, is it? That's not how that works.
Yeah, if current created a force, then every time you would flow current through a wire, the wire would like start to have centripetal acceleration, like
anti-gravity properties.
Right, it would start flexing in certain ways that would be closer to a pipe filling with water, perhaps, but that doesn't happen.
Max points out that the current is actually 10 to the negative 12 amps per meter squared, because of course he gets fuck all right.
I can't believe that he would get something like that wrong.
I mean, he's so smart. He should get everything right, you know? Because of course a smart person spits in the face of the wife that that they have children with. Especially, and here's how clever they are, right? Here's how clever he is, right? His partner's parents were basically paying for the mortgage on the house that he lived in because he couldn't afford it, because it was a couple of grand a month or something, which he couldn't afford. He's so smart that he physically abused the woman whose parents were paying for the place that he lived in.
You think it's bipolar disorder or what?
No, it's just being a fucking disgusting human being with the IQ of wet, moldy bread.
Because that's not just stupid, that's disgusting and sick. So, obviously signs of a super genius.
Yeah. PhD Tony points out, and is very true, neutrons, neutral particles, fall under gravity, but are not accelerated by an electric field. Yes.
See, that's how we love PhD Tony.
This is quote unquote positive. It carries a plus charge to the Earth. We have a voltage supply of 400,000 volts with a current of 1,800 amps, a power of 700 megawatts at any given time. Now, that's assuming the size of the Earth is actually greater than that. So to kind of break this down, I hope everyone's following. People refer to the fact that things fall as gravity. That is allegedly the effect of gravity. That is little g. It is 9.8 meters per second squared. That is not gravity, as in the cause of things going down. It is things going down. You can actually solve for that with kinematic equation. You can actually solve for that using Coulomb's law. There's an equivalence that has been proven in the electromagnetic nature of gravity, a paper written.
No, Coulomb's law is not an equivalence to Newton's law of gravity, because Coulomb's law describes both an attractive and repulsive force. Nothing in Newton's law of gravity describes that. The replacement for big G in Coulomb's law is not equivalent. It's not the same thing. So they don't do the same thing by the equation. The only thing that they've got the same is they're both like inversely proportional to the distance, and that's it. They describe an inversely proportional relationship. Apart from that, they work completely fucking differently.
In Witsit's tiny brain, he thinks any attraction of any form is all the same as any other attraction in any form. Like, that's the way he's using that to cognitively distance himself from, reality, and his followers buy it. So
yeah, because his followers are dumb as fuck.
By Constantine Mice, who sat on the board of Nuclear Physics Institute, right? That you can actually have an equivalence with electrostatics. Now, important to note, everything does not fall at 9.8 meters per second squared. That is a misnomer. People are taught everything falls at the same rate, and mass attracts mass. It's a very simple layman way to explain.
You mean accelerate, not fall, Witsit. And in the absence of other forces, yes, everything does accelerate at 9.81 meters per second squared, approximately. Obviously, at the equator, it's about 9.78. At the poles, it's about 9.81, because gravity is slightly different. Explain that with your uniform electric fucking field.
Things to people when they're younger in school. The reality is things fall at different rates. What a coincidence that the electric field creating the electric current is very nearly constant, just like the rate at which things fall. So that right there explains things falling on the Earth and why there's a downward bias, why it's nearly constant, but it fluctuates. Gravimeters have proven that things fall at different rates during thunderstorms, and mass and quote unquote gravity have been excluded.
No, they haven't.
There it is. They've proven things fall at different rates during thunderstorms.
Can we see a citation for this, Witsit? No.
Or any evidence other than just saying it out of your floppy mouth. Like, go at anything. Show me any. There should be videos upon videos upon videos of like, oh, look, it slowly falls now. It's thundering outside. It'd be the most obvious thing.
I can see your face here, Will. You're like, I'm speaking to an idiot.
I'm just like, You don't know anything.
As a possible explanation. I have all these papers. I'll drop them as they're requested. In addition, so that gets rid of the spherical claim. You cannot have a uniform vertical electric field with equipotential surfaces on a sphere. That's physically possible. That gives you the downward electric bias that's measurable, showing things fall and change at which rate they fall based on that objectively. So now you're going to have to claim there's something additional there that you can't verify, but we can actually verify our position based on empirical evidence. Let's use Occam's razor. Remember, that which requires the least amount of assumptions. So we're just going to go with the actual evidence. And also, in order to have a vertical electric field with equipotential lines, you actually are going to have what's called a Gaussian surface. And to quickly explain that, and we can get into it, in Gauss's law.
I don't think he knows what equipotential means either. Because I don't think he's using that right. That means there would be the same potential between equipotential surfaces. So there's different surfaces in the air that have the same potential between them. He's not using that right, is he? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I think an equipotential surface is like when you're diagramming electrical or magnetic fields, you use lines to diagram certain layers that should have a specific potential that is the constant throughout that entire layer. I think that's what a real equipotential surface is.
Right, the Sanch is still going on about like ethics being subjective or objective. If God made them, they're definitely the most subjective there is. We do not need God. God does not exist in beside us. That is just circular reasoning. Will you debate me about this live? Because I would very much like to destroy you.
Get them on
what's
here.
Called Gaussian surfaces, and typically they're used as mathematical or hypothetical constructs. But when you're making a physical demonstration of, say, a uniform electric field, you're going to need real physical plates to serve as those surfaces, right? And they have to be parallel to each other, and they have to be perpendicular to the field. Well, on the Earth, we have a vertical electric field. So what is perpendicular to vertical? It is, of course, horizontal. So in order to have the actual equipotential electric field we have, there has to be some type of containment above us. It has to be parallel to the surface, and it has to actually be horizontal. And this is just facts. So that argument...
All wrong. Every single bit of that was completely fucking incorrect. It demonstrated by the fact that the electrical field dissipates the higher you go. So everything that he's saying is completely wrong.
And in my physics 3 class, I don't know if you took the same type of math that I took, or physics, but when I learned about electrodynamics, there was a very specific, when they're describing how capacitors work, you do have two like plates of charge, and there's a big electric or magnetic field in between them, and that's how that system works. And then the next thing they teach you is, so this system can also work in a circle. So you have a big middle charged surface and an outer layer of charge, and there can be a electric field in between those two layers, even though they aren't flat. Like, this is the second thing you learn after you learn about the flat surfaces, is I can work on curved surfaces or any other surface. It doesn't need to be flat. Okay, so no.
But it does need to be flat because he needs it to be flat for his argument.
Yeah. Whoa. Don't you... There it is. You caught him.
Right there. That fact alone gets rid of the spherical geometry claim. It gets rid of the quote-unquote gravity claim. And it gets rid of the we live in a ball, I'll live on a ball in a vacuum claim. Okay, that's 6 minutes, and we can get into that. And again, this is Feynman Lectures. It's 9.1, I believe, and it's about atmospheric electricity. You can check it. You can check the measurements yourself. You can go out and verify yourself, and you can run generators off of it. So for the last few minutes, what I'm going to do...
Sorry, did he just say you can run generators off of the electricity in the atmosphere?
That's why I always have free electricity powering my house constantly throughout the day. That's why we all have free electricity just coming from the ether at all times.
You need to explain why I just had to collect all the sulfur in the world on Satisfactory to power my rocket fuel facility.
Yeah. Why?
I've just had to get coal, nitrogen gas, sulfur, and make a fuel beforehand so I can use the nitro rocket fuel alt so I can power generators to power my tower of efficiency. Why did Satisfactory get it wrong in the game? Fuck's sake.
Are you telling me we didn't need to invade Iran and Afghanistan to take their oil and start wars, entire civilizations crumbling for the sake of power? We could have just taken it from the sky?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Because he just said we run generators off of it. So, I mean, why am I paying an electric bill?
Maybe we could start our own electric company that takes energy from the sky.
I mean, technically, we can get electric from the sky with all the wind turbines, right?
Or I guess you could say you get electric from the sky from solar power, but
yeah, true. That's the photoelectric effect.
Yeah,
is cover a couple things that he said. Retrograde motion is not exclusive to the Earth orbiting the sun. In fact, in order to think that it was, you would have to not believe in the current model, which uses relativity and actually says there's a kinematic equivalence between a geocentric stationary position and a heliocentric model, meaning all planetary motion, all geometric patterns are equivalent in both models. They're equally valid. Einstein.
No, that's not what kinematic equivalence says. It just means you can do the calculations from any point. It doesn't explain the mechanism or why we have retrograde motion. He's trying to say kinematic equivalence explains retrograde motions if the Earth is the center. I mean, he's using geocentric cosmology here of the Earth being a ball, but he's trying to say that there's a kinematic equivalence that would explain why we have a retrograde motion. No, you can do the calculations assuming the Earth is the center to figure out stuff, but it doesn't explain the mechanism or give the explanation behind why there is a retrograde motion. He literally has no fucking idea what a kinematic equivalence is.
Yeah, you can always shoehorn geometry to fit any system, and in the debate you'll see how he basically is trying to argue the Earth can be at the center and the sun orbits the Earth, but all of the planets orbit the sun while the sun is orbiting the Earth. And you think that is going to be a better explanation than the Earth orbiting the sun, just like every other planet does? Like, come on, man.
Guys, I do have a super chat goal up. I have actually got a separate new number that I'm going to be using to phone Flerfs. So if we reach that super chat goal, I will give Cece a call whilst Will is here with us. Because that could be a lot of fucking fun. So if we reach the super chat goal during this this stream, I will give Cece a phone, see if he answers, and see if we can get Will to have a wee chat with Cece.
Yes. Oh my god. That's all I want. That's all I want. Just want more debates.
PhD Tony points out that also kinematics, which has nothing to do with relativity. Yeah, it's just showing that he doesn't know anything about anything at all. Is Mallory in the chat? Are they? Oh, hello, Mallory. This is the only flat earther I've ever lost a debate to, Mallory. I lost the debate to her because she showed me furry foot fetish porn and I broke.
Whoa.
That was their evidence that the Earth is flat, was a video of furry foot fetish porn.
I'm convinced.
I was a flat earther for a while.
I'll tell you this point blank in all of his papers. He said it. So there's kinematics, how bodies move in relation to each other, and there's dynamics, which is the supposed force that causes them to move that way. Okay, gravity would be the claimed dynamics, and then kinematics is just how they move. Retrograde would be a kinematic observation, right? The planets look like they go backwards. Now, of course, on a stationary Earth, there are multiple explanations.
That's not how that works. That's not how any of...
That's not how any of this works.
Let me just listen to that again.
So there's kinematics, how bodies move in relation to each other, and there's dynamics, which is the supposed force that causes them to move that way. Okay, gravity would be the claimed dynamics, and then kinematics is just how they move. Retrograde would be a kinematic observation, right? The planet.
Retrograde would be a kinematic observation. No?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's what he's saying is the opposite of true. I think kinematics is what involves forces more so, and dynamics is more just about movement, if I recall correctly from my college years.
I mean, kinematics is literally just, whatever we consider a rest frame. We can consider the Earth a rest frame. We consider the Moon a rest frame. We consider a Bugatti Veyron traveling down the Autobahn at 200 miles an hour a rest frame. And we can do the calculations from that. And there will be a kinematic equivalence between whichever frame you choose to what's going on. But only one has a mechanism that explains what's going on. What he's saying doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just words coming out of his stupid face hole.
That's a strat, man.
planets look like they go backwards. Now, of course, on a stationary Earth, there are multiple explanations, one of which is we measure the planets in relation to the background stars. So if the planets were to actually just slow down on occasion, they would look from our perspective to be going backwards in relation to the background stars. There's a much more popular one that's been known about for a long time, which comes from the Tychonic system. That's Tycho Brahe, which is where Kepler and everyone even got their data in the first place, right? And Tycho Brahe, or a neo-Tychonic system, would say that the planets move around the sun as that entire system moves around the Earth. Then you would have the exact same explanation that a heliocentric model has, which is it looks like they're going backwards because they're moving in relation to the sun, right? And then you have internal planets, etc. So there's a kinematic equivalence with retrograde that isn't exclusive to the Earth flying around the sun whatsoever. And in fact, the Mercury's perihelion shift shows you that their model doesn't even work. Gravity doesn't even work.
But the perihelion shift was explained by gravity.
Perihelion shift.
I forgot how dumb Witsit is
everything.
while trying to sound so fucking smart.
Yeah, he's been away for a hot minute. So.
Yeah, I scared him off the internet. Well, not just me.
God.
A bunch of us did.
Mostly
and, you know, a lot of flat earthers as well, because, you know, after coming back from Antarctica, you know, he got just destroyed by the entire flat earth community. And then, obviously, he lost the home that he lived in because his wife left him and took the kids, and their mum no longer paid for the house.
Was that before or after he spit on the mother of his children?
That was just before he went to Antarctica, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and then his wife obviously took the kids and left him, which means that her mum no longer paid for the place that he lived. So now he had to move back in with his mummy, and she monitors his internet usage.
That's good.
And it still hasn't been explained to this day. Okay, and we'll get more into this stuff hopefully. But lunar eclipses, he said that the only shape that can have that is a sphere. You can, of course, put anything in front of something that's taking some type of spherical shape, which could be plasma. If you look at light from a distance, it looks like a sphere, right? It has a radius of light. So any light source from a distance is going to look like a sphere because it has a radius of light, right? Illumination. Same with the planets and everything. But that aside, you could take
illumination.
How could a radius of light
Great explanation
make an eclipse?
Well, he's saying like any shape would make a circular shadow. That's what he's saying. Like if you put a walrus in front of a big light, it would make a circular shadow, which is just how shadows work, right? Anything makes a circle, not just circles, and square makes circles, right? Square equals circle. That's the logic. So
fucking dumb.
Move it in front of the moon, and it would create a circular shadow. This has been replicated many times. If you've never heard of it, you may sound unfamiliar to you, but it is a fact. You can take any shape and move it in front of it and cause a circular shadow. And actually, lunar eclipses debunk the globe, as we have selenian eclipses where the sun and the moon are both above the Earth during the eclipse, when supposedly the Earth is blocking the light from the sun, casting a shadow onto the moon, which is a geometric impossibility. This is another time where we'll throw Occam's razor out, I'm sure, because Occam's razor...
refraction exists, and you only get a Snellian eclipse when they're really fucking close to the horizon on both sides.
Yeah,
right?
When they first talked about selenian eclipses, where you can have sun and moon up at the same time, I was like, I got to learn more about this because that sounds interesting. And yeah, shocker. It's when they're both on the horizon, basically.
Yeah,
so it would be the most like, of course they're going to. That's what you would expect. It's both on both sides of the planet. Sun's over there, moon's there. We're going to block some of the sunlight. Come on. That's what makes sense. But they don't want to say that. Of course, They don't want to tell you that.
Is the globe's worst enemy. North Star cannot be seen from super far south. That's correct, because you can't see forever on a flat Earth. And whenever all these things were called predictions from the globe, they're actually just, we looked at the sky, we recorded it over hundreds or even thousands of years, and then we crafted a globe Earth model based on the celestial observations. That's quite literally how we made it. So that would be the opposite of prediction. That would quite literally be the opposite. So if you say, hey, look, I'm going to look at all the sky and then make up a model in my head of the Earth.
Did you just do a McFly thing to him there? It seems like you were being like, McFly!
I'm like trying so hard to not interrupt him and get on him for this shit he's saying. Because it's like, we observed it all the time. And that's why it's not in prediction at all. And there's this whole thing about predictions.
That's how predictions are made.
It's like, we literally talk about predictions for like 15 minutes. You'll see it, but it's so stupid.
Being a globe, then I'm going to say, hey, look, the globe predicts what happens in the sky. That is hilariously backwards.
Awesome.
I still got a couple minutes. So that is post-diction, not prediction. And actually, we can see Polaris below the equator at times, which is also a geometric impossibility on the globe.
Sorry, that's post-diction, not prediction. Did he just...
Yeah. It keeps going. We talk about it a lot more when we get started. It's the first thing we talk about, actually.
Based on things you've observed, and then use that model to make prediction.
Yeah.
This is where Occam's razor will get thrown out again, and they'll start making excuses, special pleading, post hoc rationalization, etc. Flight times actually use GPS, but use a preferred direction. They make meridian corrections. So in the south, they use GPS to get the distances. They make meridian corrections, actually subtracting distances over 69 miles and accounting for the preferred direction of C. Actually, the variant nature of C. I hope we get into that, right? If that's what he specializes in. And then, of course, like I said, gravity is not mass attracting mass. That's archaic. So for the last minute and a half, I'm going to explain this. Most people that claim that the Earth's a globe that flies around the sun, they all bring up Newton, the mass attracting mass. You cannot believe in Newtonian mechanics and the heliocentric model at the same time. This is a fact because the Michelson-Morley experiment did not detect the orbit of the Earth. And if there's a force...
The Michelson-Morley experiment was not attempting to detect the orbit of the Earth. It assumed that the Earth orbited the sun. And that was in part of the experiment. It was testing to see if whilst it orbited the sun, there would be an aether wind. And the way I like to describe this to Flerfs is, if you're in a car going down a motorway, stick your hand out of the car, out of the window, right? And you're going to feel the wind pushing your hand back, right? If the Earth was, if there was an aether, as the Earth traveled through that aether, there would be a wind hitting the Earth, similar to your hand being pushed back by the air as you go along the motorway, right? That's why they use the apparatus at different directions, because it means that light would be coming in from slightly different angles based on the fact that there would be an aether wind as the Earth traveled through it. It wasn't attempting to measure the motion of the Earth. It was attempting to measure the aether relative to the Earth's motion. And in the paper, they even said they found no aether, although the Earth clearly orbited the sun. No Flerf or understands the Michelson-Morley experiment, and Witsit has muddied the waters of the MMX so much. All we need to do is just go to the Michelson-Gale-Pearson experiment, which literally measured the orbit of the Earth around the sun.
It actually is a lot similar to how we were talking about before with the Eratosthenes experiment. The experiment and the scientist who was running the experiment knew the Earth was round. That was understood fact behind the experiment. It was never experimenting if the Earth was round or if it was a globe, because that was obvious. Same with Michelson-Morley. It was not if the Earth is round and rotating. No, we know that that is true. That is a fact, that the question of ethereal wind or how round the Earth is built on top of. It is not questioning this obvious truth that everyone on the whole planet understands except for delusional, paranoid conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Acting on the Earth to cause it to go into a circular motion, you would detect that circular motion with interferometry. That's what the Sagnac effect is. We did not detect the orbit. Einstein came in and saved the day by saying, oh, well, actually, the Earth is free falling in a linear path in the curvature of space-time in a geodesic path. That's why you couldn't detect it, which means, quite literally, either you pick Newtonian mechanics or the Earth is orbiting around the sun. You cannot have both. And in fact, if you do anything with orbital mechanics or aerospace engineering or anything like that, they use Newtonian mechanics. So if that were to even be true, which actually you treat it as an ellipse from our position, that would be evidence for a stationary Earth, quite literally, because if the Newtonian mechanics was true, the Earth cannot be orbiting around the sun. So it's very perplexing as to why people bring that up. Of course, also, it doesn't have a time.
None of that was fucking true. You can literally calculate the orbit of the Earth using Newtonian mechanics. So, the fuck?
Yeah, we're going to get into a lot of this Newtonian physics versus relativistic physics. And as you'll see, I eventually clarify, I would be okay with conceding Newtonian physics. It's not true, because Newtonian physics is a very close approximation of what reality is, right? Newtonian physics isn't absolutely true, and relativity is able to refine it and hone that physical model to a more accurate state. And if that's because you can't have both, right? They contradict each other. Newtonian physics doesn't talk about time dilation or anything like that. So if that was actually the first thing my physics teacher told me when we started our physics 1 classes, he's like, I'm going to teach you a bunch of stuff and most of it's not true, because it's all approximating reality. And you're going to learn more accurate things later on, but the Newtonian side it can be extremely useful on our day-to-day life, because that's what almost everything we see follows. But, when you muddy the water with relativity, trying to confuse people and say Newton knew nothing where he knew plenty.
Yeah.
Variable gravity would have to be instant. You would have to have instantaneous action at a distance, just like Newton said. He didn't even propose a cause. He said it must be God doing it, et cetera, et cetera. So I know that was a lot. I tried not to go too fast. We can get more into the specifics, but Occam's razor is, in the last 10 seconds, obviously that the Earth is a stationary topographical plane and that the Earth is in the center of the cosmos. Everything moves around us for all recorded history. You have to actually make tons of assumptions to explain how those are all illusions. Cool.
Well timed, Witsit. Thank you.
I didn't notice any flat Earth evidence. He just tried to debunk you and did it wrong.
Yeah, like you wouldn't expect that from Witsit. You would have thought you would have seen a much more coherent, evidence-based, logical foundation for his argument, but I don't know. He was off his game today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, both of you, for your opening statements. Allow me to just welcome our viewers to have King of Cake, even Earth, searching about it. Thousands of subscribers. Just so, viewers, keep them respectful. Have fun.
Newtonian mechanics is true. So, thank you, Justin. Witsit, do you believe Newtonian mechanics is true?
No.
Okay, that's correct. What do you know why it's not true, and why it is useful though still?
I don't care if it's useful. It's not true.
I didn't say it was true either. Why is it useful?
Because it's really easy to use and simple to use, and we can use it for things on the Earth that I can use like 10 other different equations for.
Because it's made good at predicting the future, right? On our small scale. Oh, no? You disagree? No. So
it doesn't work on the
projectile motion is a kinematic equation from Newtonian physics. Do you think projectile motion is good at predicting things?
Yeah, sure. We make predictions.
Okay, so you do think it's good at making predictions, Newtonian physics?
Yeah, I just said it can.
You contradicted yourself already. So now predictions.
All right, what's not going to happen is that you're going to interrupt me when I'm responding. But you can calm down. You're not tough. All right. So I already.
You can calm down, Will. You're not tough. Says the guy that looked like he'd been broken by a soft breeze.
Right after that, under my breath, I'm like, I am tough, trying to just pretend that I give a fuck about what he's saying about. But
acknowledge that it does make some predictions.
He's getting pushed back on.
Duh.
So he doesn't like it.
But the point is that it doesn't work even on the earthly scale. There are places it doesn't work on the local terrestrial scale.
I agree.
Doesn't work at all on the quantum scale. Doesn't work on the solar system scale, and totally doesn't work on the cosmological scale. I can show you. I need you to pay attention to this. I can give you another equation that does the same thing, and it uses an electrostatic equivalence. Therefore, if our only standard...
No, you can't. That's why you didn't do it.
...of if it's good or not is if it can make some predictions, then that one's equally valid. We don't even need Newtonian mechanics.
So if it did make a prediction, would that mean it's true? If your equation that you came up with, would that mean it's true?
No.
Correct. So you believe Newtonian physics is very useful and good at making predictions.
But wrong. But it's wrong though.
What about predictions? I know you talked about this, and I hate to get into semantic arguments, but a prediction, can you make a prediction based on past data? What's it?
Yeah, sure. If it's a cyclical thing, it's not actually. If it's cyclical, it's not actually a prediction.
So why?
It's just an acknowledgement of a cycle. If you want to be semantic and call it a prediction, that's cool. It doesn't. Okay. You can't tout it as predictive capability. It was cyclical. The Antikythera mechanism predicts everything that happens in the sky. It doesn't use any type of dynamics whatsoever.
Okay, so it can make predictions. Thank you.
You see how you're going to have to be disingenuous?
No, you said it makes predictions. You said
no. I said it's actually cyclical, so it's a post-diction. It's called.
Can you make a prediction with it?
No, we actually have a technical name for it. It's called post-diction. It's literally what it's called.
Is it telling the future? I don't care what you call it. Is it telling the future?
No, it's just it's acknowledging a presumption of the cycle that we've currently observed to that point.
So if you saw a cycle 10,000 times and you are assuming in the future it will happen again, is that what you're talking about?
Right. So then that wouldn't add any validity. That wouldn't add any validity to, or like that wouldn't.
So he's just agreed that it's a prediction, and not post.
This is a lot of just muddying the waters, trying to confuse people. And after this debate, I immediately Googled the word post-diction, and guess what? That's not fucking what a post-diction is. What he said it is not at all. A post-diction has to do with like you revised an article after you got new data. Like that's what a post-diction is. It has nothing to do with, I saw a cyclical pattern and I'm making a future assumption based on the cyclical pattern.
So a post-diction is the process of interpreting, explaining, or perceiving an event after it has already occurred, often allowing later information to influence the perception of earlier stimuli.
Yeah, so it's reviewing something that happened before. So it's nothing to do with what we're talking about in the debate. He just made that up.
So it's like revisionist history.
Or no, it's just like you talk about the Revolutionary War after the Revolutionary War. It's a post-diction, like you're talking about historical event. It's not like, we're going to predict a future event based on what we saw. It's nothing to do with a prediction. He's just lying. He's just completely making it up.
show us that something's valid just because we applied an equation to show us that the cycle's going to keep happening, which was your argument. Your argument was since it matches the cycle, it proves the globe. It literally doesn't.
So it can be used to tell the future, which is what you denied initially in this argument.
No, we can acknowledge the cycle, sure, and we can
tell the
assume
future.
cycle. We can assume the cycle is going to keep happening. That doesn't actually
So
give
admit
validity
it can tell
to-
the future.
Do you not understand the simplicity in what I'm saying?
You're just have cognitive dissonance and don't
You're
pretend. It's so obvious.
Hey,
you can tell the future with it. That's
do
what
you,
you said.
do you agree that that doesn't show that something's valid if the cycle's going to happen anyway, and then you just create something that absorbs the cycle that doesn't add validity to the claim?
No, it does not prove it's true, but it definitely proves that you can use predictions. It definitely has predictive power.
What do we predict with it?
Did you listen to my intro?
It's not a prediction if I
showed
already
you
know it's
8
going to happen.
different
Dude.
examples of predictions that the globe.
It's not a prediction if I know it's going to happen.
He's just trying to confuse everyone watching him.
That's what a prediction fucking is.
No shit. It's almost like you have to have double think when you're talking to this guy. Just because you can know what's happening in the future, just because it happened before, you know, that's not a prediction because it happened before. Like, I want to know what he thinks a prediction is if that's not a prediction.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, well, how would he define prediction then? Because he's literally saying that you saying something in the future is going to happen based on past data isn't a prediction. But that's literally what a fucking prediction is.
There is no other way to know what's going to happen in the future. You have to use the past to predict the future. It's just good. It's just great. This is his semantical cognitive bullshit.
So Wikipedia says that a post-diction is the act of making a prediction about the past or explaining something after it's happened, not about the future.
Yeah, but it's all about the past. The post-diction is all about the past. Nothing having to do with the future. Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
This is a good example of a blatant bad faith lie. There is no validity.
I don't know that it's a bad faith lie, Will. I'm going to disagree with you there. I think he's just too stupid to know what he's saying.
I mean, if he's so stupid that he is not willing to look up the word that he's using to define, like, we're arguing about definitions right now.
Yeah.
And he either never looked up that word ever and is just creating up his own definition, or he did know the definition and he know he's lying. So I don't know how much good faith either one can be.
So dumb. All right, guys, I want to thank everyone for being here. I really do appreciate the support and the love of the channel. Do me a favor, if you're not already, like the stream and subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification bell. Remember, you can support the channel with super chats or becoming a member or gifting a membership. Or if you want to avoid giving YouTube 30% of your money, you could always donate directly to my PayPal, paypal.me/FTFE. But what's really important is to tell you that I am legally obliged to read out any super chats that you send. Whatever is in them, even if they're direct insults to me, I have to read them out. So just bear that in mind. Tiny Captain says, Will, thumbs up for your personal training achievements.
Hey, I appreciate you guys.
Earth can predict that the flat Earth model cannot. So it has predictive power. Would you agree? If something can tell the future, it has predictive power. Would you agree with that at least?
It's not telling the future. We just already see the cycle, right? So sure, if you want to be semantic and say like, oh well, dude, this is so ignorant.
No, I want to stay on the topic.
Getting flustered.
I know you just hate
why are you
so much. Because I want to acknowledge that you feeling uncomfortable because you're about to admit.
I'm not uncomfortable. This is I consider this.
Can you tell the future with it?
If that makes you happy, sure.
Okay, so thank you. So you contradict yourself again.
You can also tell the future without it, okay? And so here's the important part. It's a cycle that happens always forever. You can tell the future completely without the globe model. We look at the sky and we saw that it keeps doing the same thing forever for all recorded history, which is actually a you problem as you claim compounding vectors that we can just ignore. So then you made...
You claim compounding vectors, Will? Do you?
I have never made such claim to any compounding vectors. Personally, not sure where that came from.
The globe model based on the cycle always happening. And it took many hundreds of years to make it, by the way. You had to keep on adding wobbles here and there and just constantly making stuff up to even make it match the cycles that we see. Now people turn around in 2024 and claim that because it matches the sky, it actually proves it's correct when you literally made it from the sky cycle in the first place. That is ignorant.
Right. So that is called deductive reasoning. And I know you're very unfamiliar with that concept, but it's called looking at past data points and fitting a curve, fitting a trend to them, and trying to make a reasonable argument for that trend's existence. So that is called using data.
Cool. Hey, wait. But before you move on,
that guy's smart.
Make a point. This actually isn't.
Yeah, that guy on the left, I think he's pretty, he knows what he's talking about. Like
that guy, he made a really good argument right there. I really like that.
Yeah. We should get him on the channel and have a chat.
You know, I feel like he would be a really good conversationalist, and he should come on here often. I like him.
Totally, absolutely, 100%.
That's you going down a list.
Can you not control yourself?
All right.
No. This dude's acting like I'm here in his classroom or something. I'm not.
I understand.
I'm trying to educate you.
That's nice projection. We're about to stick on Newtonian mechanics though, and we're going to get educated. Why you
don't
can't
believe in
use
Newtonian mechanics?
You can't use Newtonian mechanics. So let's talk about how Newtonian mechanics was disproven with Michelson-Morley. Can you explain how that happened?
I acknowledge Newtonian mechanics is false. I don't have to answer this.
Okay, so then
we've been past this. What are you talking about?
So then why do you invoke it? And why do you invoke it?
Because it's useful. As I said, something can be useful and be wrong at the same time. That is the argument I'm making.
Okay, so then gravity isn't mass attracting mass like you claimed in your opener then?
It is mass attracting mass.
It literally isn't.
You did say this. Does a massive object attract another massive object? No. So what happens when something is pulled towards each other? What do you call that?
Okay, well, it's not pulled towards each other in your paradigm. I'll happily teach you what happens. So supposedly a mass...
You can't answer a question. Regardless of how you want to describe it, there is one thing being attracted to another. That is what we see happening.
Yeah, he's just trying to make a semantical muddying the waters with the semantics, like as if relativity makes it so these massive objects are not being attracted because it's actually the warping of space-time that's causing them to fall towards each other. That would still be attraction, okay? Even though it's a secondary mechanic off of the warping of space-time, it's still moving towards it's attracted to each other. Okay, because it's coming towards you. That's attraction. I don't care if you want to argue about the reason why they're going towards each other. They're still going towards each other. That's how it works. And he's just trying to confuse people by saying it's not. And he does this the rest of the debate, too.
Displaces space-time, causes a gravity well, which causes the bending and warping of space-time, which causes objects to basically be guided through the curvature of space-time, free-falling in a geodesic path, still moving linear from their reference frame. There is no attraction. There is no force. There is no pulling. This is archaic, elementary version of gravity that we teach people when they're in middle school. This isn't what your paradigm believes.
No, you don't learn about Newtonian gravity in middle school. That's definitely high school, showing that you never really got past middle school or high school. Witsit. You definitely don't learn about Newtonian gravity in middle school. That would be kind of like, I mean, maybe when you're like 14 or 15, you start learning Newtonian mechanics in high school, I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're really talking about... You might learn the word gravity, but you're definitely not understanding any mechanic of how it works in any quantitative way. So that's a upper level high school.
Witsit was the guy eating the glue stick instead of paying attention to the teacher, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or sniffing the markers. This one smells like cherry.
Oh my God. Telling everyone the Earth is flat in high school.
True if you are orbiting the sun.
Give me an example of something pulling something else.
A magnet.
Magnet. So what about it is pulling it?
The force.
Go on. Explain that a little bit more.
Well, okay, technically on a magnet, it's pressure mediation based on this triple divergence and triple convergence.
The gibberish again from you, Andrew.
Hey, how is it gibberish? Which word did it make sense?
Got his name wrong.
It's not that the words are not words.
What did you call him?
Called him Andrew. And then I was like, Anthony? And I was like, oh, wait, just Witsit.
That you don't use them in any usable...
Which part of it wasn't usable?
Oh, you want to repeat what you said?
Yeah, centrifugal divergence.
Yeah, go ahead. Explain.
Okay.
Explain it in a way that you think a regular audience would understand.
Okay, so I'll even go really simple for you.
Really simple.
You have a donut. Okay. Now we're going to draw the inside of the donut from the inside to the outside. It's going to give us, the lines are going to diverge away from each other. It would be centrifugal, right? Because it's moving out from the center, which is what centrifugal means. Then we have centripetal moving in towards the center, converging. So centrifugal divergence and centripetal convergence are not gibberish. They're very simple concepts that are just objective, right?
And
so you asked me to explain magnetism, and then you freaked out when I used a word with 3 syllables in it. No. But yeah, it's the pressure mediation. Actually, there's no such thing as magnetic attraction. It's actually accelerating towards the pressure created by the actual magnetic.
Calming myself down.
But I want to stick on the fact that you can't use Newtonian.
None of that described magnetism. Not a single bit of that described anything to do with magnetism, right?
I was like, explain centripetal. It's like, okay, first you have a donut. And I'm like, can you, like, you're just trying to lead people away from the obvious cognitive dissonance you're trying to sell them. First you have a donut, and then it goes out, and then it goes in. It all makes sense now.
It's
like,
pressure mediation with centrifugal divergence.
Thank you for just clarifying your point. Like, come on.
How, though? How does a magnet do that? What is causing it? It's actually the alignment of electrons and stuff, but, you know, he doesn't believe in atoms, so...
Relate it back to the conversation rather than just explain the motion of how a magnet works. That's not the question. How does force pull or push? That was the question. Not just give me a word centrifugal. That's not it.
Waiter, there's a Witsit in my word salad, says Nick Hall for £2. Thank you very much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Remember, guys, I have to legally, I signed a contract and everything, legally read out whatever you put in a super chat, whatever it is. It could be a direct insult to me. It could be a direct insult about Witsit. It could be a joke about how Chuck Norris is actually dead now and is going to be carrying his own coffin at his funeral.
Make him say some dirty shit, guys.
Did you know Chuck Norris built the hospital he was born in?
My God, he's a time traveler.
He's just that good. So there was a time once when Chuck Norris was bit by a poisonous snake, right? And after 5 days of agonizing pain, the snake died.
Dude, that man, he'll be a legend forever.
Well, Chuck Norris got to the pearly gates and he asked St. Peter for his ID.
Got to the book. Oh my God.
Yeah,
wow.
Chuck Norris got up to God and he's like, I'll take it from here.
I'm in charge now, buddy. Thanks for keeping my seat
wrong
warm.
about what you claimed gravity was, because you were very arrogant in your opener about how we know exactly what gravity is and it's mass attracting mass, and flat earthers just say nuh-uh and they have to deny it. You're wrong, my brother. That is not what gravity is in your paradigm. If it was, then the earth would have to be stationary.
So the argument by gibberish is obscure and impenetrable jargon, and a lot of it has to do with using words unnecessarily. You did not have to bring in any form of centripetal nothing when talking about electromagnetism. I've taken many courses in electromagnetism, calculus-based. Thank you. So
okay,
back to Newtonian physics.
how do you explain?
No. You wanted to talk about Newtonian physics.
Yes.
Newtonian physics is useful and not true at the same time. You can understand things at a third grade level, how they are useful, and yet they are not true at the same time. Would you agree?
They can be useful but not true at the same time, sure.
Yes. So is the concept of gas needing a container, is that a third grade level concept to understand?
Yeah, I would say it's
yes, that's exactly
really
right.
easy
And that's
to
why you teach
understand.
third graders that. And that's why you teach adults grown-up physics, where they don't need a container.
But then why were you teaching a whole room of grown-ups mass attracting mass in 2024?
Because it does attract each other.
It literally doesn't.
By warping space-time.
That isn't an attraction.
That is a byproduct of the. Does the human push the nails into the wood, or does the hammer push the nails into the wood?
Actually, there's no pushing. Hey, what I want you to, or there's only pushing. You're right. Yes, but what I want you to understand.
No, then which one pushes the wood, the hammer or the person?
There's no pushing. No, there's only pushing. What?
And he was trying to divert so far, but I was able to bring it back because it's all about, are you talking about a direct causation or an indirect causation? Either way, it causes it. So that's the way gravity works. And he's trying to get away from it, but I get him back.
He's trying to go on to the whole, there's no such thing as pulling. Which,
yes.
I mean, pull my finger, you know?
Is that real? Is that really pulling, or is it just electro? Blah, 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 blah?
Yeah, guys, I know that Chuck Norris was actually not a very good person. He was a bit of a bigot and stuff, but the jokes are funny, and they always will be.
I think he went MAGA towards the end.
Yeah. Just like the dude that played Hercules, whatever his name is, Kevin Sorbo, is a fucking... He joined ICE.
Oh, he was hyper-Christian for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Which one?
Both.
Both. So you could say the human pushes the nail in, even though it's not directly by the human, right?
That is not in any way analogous.
Yes or no? It's
sure.
easy.
Sure.
So yes, so the
But
planet
it's not
is causing
analogous.
deformation in the space-time. Stop interrupting me. You're so rude. Stop deforming
You're projecting.
space-time. Interrupting. Justin, is this a problem?
I don't think it is actually a problem. Our audience is here for it. He's trying to reply to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So back to
yeah, you guys are going fine. Just
okay. Back to the argument. If Witsit can have composure for 5 seconds, if you admit a human can be the one pushing the nail in, and you don't have to have the most direct tool that it is pushing the nail in, then you can admit that gravity, the deformation of space-time caused by the mass, is also which the deformation is what's causing the attraction, could also be described as the mass attracting the object. Just like the human pushed in the nail, the hammer pushed in the nail, the mass attracted the other mass, the deformation in space-time attracted the other mass.
What you just said there in not so many words is you can derive Newton's law of gravity from Einstein's tensor equations.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to say it's not attracting because it's deforming space, but the deformation is causing the attraction.
Yeah.
It's attracting it, right?
Yeah. An attraction is always caused by something else, but we can absolutely say it's an attraction. There's no natural attraction. You know, an attraction is an emergent property of a mechanism behind it, right?
That's exactly. And I could have used more complicated examples like am I attracted, or is a girl attracted to this boy? Does that mean it has to be a fundamental force of the universe for this girl to be attracted to this boy? No, their attraction is based on much more complicated underlying mechanisms, right? Just like gravity is. It's based on more complicated underlying mechanisms. It's still attraction. Yeah. You can't semantic your way out of that, but he tries.
Matthew Fours in the chat says, come on, I can't be the only sci-fi nerd here who has seen Andromeda. Yeah, the first season was good. The second season, some of it was good. The third season was fucking boring, and I gave up when I found out that Kevin Sorbo is a MAGA bigot, basically. It kind of ruined it all for me. As soon as the Reverend went away, he was the best character. It was not good anymore, basically. Have you ever watched Andromeda?
I've not.
It's the other sci-fi show that was, well, it wasn't created by Gene Roddenberry, but he kind of wrote it and then they made it after his death. But it was a bit crap. Basically, a ship, the Andromeda Ascendant got trapped inside the gravity well of a black hole and was pulled out like a couple of thousand years later after the space empire had fallen.
Oh, that sounds like an interesting story. And how many seasons was it?
There was like 8 seasons, but it got really shit after the second.
Oh, so the first season's good though?
Yeah, definitely.
Semantics. This is such a meaningless waste of time to talk about this.
No, actually, it's very important because when you say mass attracts mass, that's from Newtonian mechanics, and that denotes gravity as a force, right? An innate property of matter, right? And that has been disproven in your paradigm. And of course, even if it were true, you would require something akin to an ether. You would need a medium that's actually giving you mutual contact with the bodies because there is no time variable in Newtonian mechanics or Newtonian gravity, right? So it's instantaneous action at distance, which is why Newton explained, right? He can't even wrap his mind around it. It must be God doing it. And that anyone that would think that it could act instantly through the vastness of a vacuum through long distances, right? Innate brute matter on other matter without a medium in between them it's so great an absurdity that no man with competent faculty of thinking philosophical matters could ever fall into it. So that is very important because if you're claiming to know what gravity is, you don't need to denote it as something that's been disproven. That doesn't make any sense. So it is important. You're talking
Newtonian gravity has not been disproven. It's just not entirely accurate. It's not as good at doing the thing as the other thing. They always like to say how, well, Einstein superseded Newton. Yeah, but the PS5 superseded the PS4. They both still work.
It's kind of like thinking about, like you were relating it to before, 9.81 meters per second squared.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is 9.81 meters per second squared true or false?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
Well, on average, it's an approximation, right?
Is an approximation true or false?
Well, it's not entirely true.
You could argue either way.
Yeah.
Right. The main point is you're simplifying something that's more complicated. It's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily false. It's a way of describing it and maybe less accurate than other ways to describe it. So, like, now you're just talking about what does true and false even mean? If something's really inaccurate, is it false? Yeah. Maybe. Depends on how inaccurate.
Science explains things. Physics explains things. Math describes things. We're talking about, do you have a viable explanation of physics to tell us that the Earth is a tilted, wobbling, spinning ball flying through space? And the answer is that you do not. So we can't talk about Newtonian gravity. It's irrelevant. You can't have it.
So
he took away your gravity, Will. You're not allowed it.
I had my gravity taken away by Witsit. Please give it back, Witsit. and he gave me electro bullshit instead, and now I can't make any calculations or predictions about the world.
Ribcheck $2 says Twitsit spits it swallows. Yeah, his boyfriend told me so.
Twitsit dipshit. I like that.
Yeah, well, Witsit's dad should have wiped him on the curtains, to be fair.
Ooh, the world would be a better place.
Yeah. I'm never going to let him live down the fact that he always said if anyone ever spoke to him in that way, he'd break their jaw. Yet my jaw remained unbroken and gorgeous.
Oh my God. This man couldn't break anyone's jaw. This man's jaw is made of crystals and like glass inside. If you touched Witsit's jaw, he would just crumple down. Because you know that's the only kind of person who would spit on the mother of their child. It's like a very delicate, frail man.
Did you know why he did it, though?
Because he's insecure?
No, because their baby was crying and she couldn't make it stop.
Is that really true?
Yeah, I'll send you the rest report if you want.
Wait, so he did it at his home?
Yeah,
I thought it was at the debate con.
No, he spat at his wife at their home. Their baby was crying.
Oh.
And the wife couldn't stop it. They got into an argument about it. He grabbed her arms as she was moving towards him and spat in her face.
So was this videotaped or was this just like reported by her?
No, that was in the arrest report.
So she reported all that happening. Yeah. That's horrific.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds pretty Witsit to me.
B4CCH4NTE says Voyager was awesome. Yeah, I'd agree, but Voyager is the worst Star Trek to rewatch. It's the one that holds up the worst, in my opinion.
It's not good second time?
It's still good the second time, even the third time, but the more you watch it, the more you're like, Janeway was a fucking awful captain. She committed genocide.
Oh, okay.
And why was Harry Kim never promoted?
You know, some of those Star Trek things we kind of we'll just stick with first, second gen. That's pretty good.
Next Generation, yeah. Next Generation. Season 2, 3, and 4 specifically.
Stick with that.
You cite, again, the Michaels and Morley failed experiment that you always like to bring up that proves the ether, which failed, that was acknowledged by Michael and Morley to be a failed, to try to provide the ether.
Wait, how did...
grasp again, again with the interrupting. Control yourself. I never paused. So you cite failed experiments, you use gibberish to try to back up your arguments, and now you're asking me to prove to you again that the Earth is a spinning ball. Can you please acknowledge any other of the 8 arguments I've made in my opening argument? Especially, I would really like to hear about the star moving across the sky. Witsit, why can you see circles in the sky on the south and on the north, and they go in opposite directions?
Okay, I'm happy to...
All right.
But I drew a circle.
This is where I begin to set up my trap for him to bring up the Walter Bislin calculator.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because I knew he was going to go down this route.
All right, guys, we're going to do about another 20 minutes today. We're not very far into this debate. We are definitely going to bring Will back and continue to go through this. So, yeah, if you want to see the rest of this, then make sure you show Will some love and go and subscribe to his channel. Tiny Captain says, Will, you did a very good job in destroying Flat Earth and training yourself in your videos. And training himself is he videos Earth needs. We all need to set a goal for yourself, even if it's almost nothing. I may have read that.
That sounded positive. Whatever the intention was, I think it was. I appreciate you guys' support. And yeah, I'm trying to. This whole year is the year of physical improvement for my body. So if you want to see my flabby body get into a Ryan Gosling type body, you know, go check it out.
My aim is Wolverine by the age of 50.
Okay, he's old too, so it could work.
Yeah. However, it does mean Hugh Jackman said that for that scene where he had his shirt off in Deadpool 3 and looked like a fucking Adonis, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't eat for 2 days before that and didn't drink for an entire day before that. He was allowed to chew an ice cube once every 6 hours or so. But he said it was the most horrible time of his life. and he fucking hated it, right? He had to literally get rid of all the fucking water and everything from his body so he looked that ripped. But then he said the worst thing was after, because you couldn't just then go and down a bunch of water because you'd be fucking sick. He was so thirsty and he's so bad he just wanted to drink loads of water, but he couldn't. For like 12 hours afterwards, he had to just like sip and try to rehydrate his body without being able to actually fucking down a big glass of water like he wanted to. So the only way I can ever look like Wolverine is to kind of literally starve and you know, dehydrate myself. But, you know, I'll get there.
You know, guys, the girls get all the credit for their unrealistic beauty expectations, but it happens to guys too. Because ain't none of us be looking like Wolverine while we're thirsting ourselves to death.
Yeah.
So if you want to see a realistic standard of male physique that is not as beautiful as Wolverine, go to my channel.
Zumi says that Harry Kim eventually became captain in Star Trek Online, but as it's considered canon by the producers. Well, actually, the canons consider it soft. The producers consider Star Trek Online soft canon, which means they can take the bits that they want.
It's called cherry picking in debate world.
Come on, why can't I open that? Oh, right. Oh, no, press the wrong button. Max wants me to show you something.
Yes. The hell is this?
We're taking away 2024 is going to be a rough year for you guys. We're taking away satellites. We're taking away celestial navigation. We're taking away claimed Euclidean visual space. And we're taking away the sky. And that's going to be rough for you guys. I mean, there's literally no rebuttal to any of them. Like when you claim that these things don't work on a flat Earth, we've proven that they do now objectively. 2024 is going to be a rough year for you guys. We're taking away satellites.
The sky, Will.
We're taking away.
He took away our satellites.
I know.
The fuck does that mean? He's taking it away.
Well, he's going to have to tell Flat Earth Jesus, because that's how Flat Earth Jesus uses the internet.
Why does he say that was also 2 years ago, and I feel like we still have the sky and satellites. So
yeah, and everything else, of course. Nick Wolf for £5 says, Craig, gotta love the episode of Trek where Captain Solo fought the Sirens in the asteroid field, then used the power of the Swartz to defeat them. You know what? You can just leave. Actually, you can just go. There's a door. Just get out.
Welcome.
Yep. No longer welcome here.
No, just because you're a globe earther doesn't mean we welcome you.
Yeah, Tiny Captain, just tag me with your Discord and I will pass it over to Will. Are you on Discord, Will?
I have a Discord. I just don't use it very much.
Discuss your whole list, but not on the hills of you hand wave dismissing what you clearly were just wrong about. So if you want to be honest and just concede that, yeah, you misspoke when you said mass attracts mass. No, you can't have that. No, Newtonian gravity is no longer an option in your paradigm. You cannot have it. And that Michelson Morley debunked it, and that you cannot use it, and that Newtonian gravity and the orbit of the Earth cannot coexist anymore. You have to completely change all of physics to believe the Earth orbits around the sun. If you can concede that gravity is not mass attracting mass, that's archaic and elementary and disproven for over a century.
Funny how every scientist in the world, every physics teacher in the world, every third grader in the world disagrees with you, Witsit, right?
Yeah, I don't think relativistic, scientists would like, you can try to, semantic your way out of saying it's attracting, but I think every relativistic scientist would still say the phrase, it's mass attracting mass in every context. Like, even if you're trying to have the most good faith relativistic explanation of the dynamic, it's still attracting each other. So it's just all garbage.
Yeah, because everything Witsit says is garbage, of course.
The
He's
garbage
got no
man.
idea about anything that he talks about. He just throws out words and word salad and misunderstands stuff. And he still is pushing Michelson Morley as he says it's the Sagnac effect. There wasn't the Sagnac effect in the Michelson Morley experiment. That's not how that worked.
No, I don't think he. I don't think he read the paper. Dare I say?
No, I don't know if he can read. Really? Do you know Witsit once got out of the wrong side of the bed and fell out of a window?
Fell out of a window.
Century, then sure, we can move on to something else.
I've already acknowledged that Newtonian physics is wrong. Have you listened to me?
Okay,
I've
so
admitted
then
that multiple times throughout this debate, and you want me to say it again? Sure, I'll say that a million times. Newtonian physics is a approximation of reality. It is extremely useful in all of our day-to-day lives and designs, and it is wrong because it's an approximation.
It's only useful mathematically, bro. Can you please acknowledge this? It's only useful mathematically. There is a difference in science and math. Science explains things, math describes things. Okay,
what is something useful mathematically? What does that mean?
Because yes, Newtonian mechanics on like small scales and lower speeds and smaller gravitational presence, right, is somewhat similar to relativity. So, or any time of gravity, it's really just reverse engineered from kinematics anyway. So yes, you can use it.
He just said that Newtonian mechanics is reverse engineered from kinematics. I want to punch my monitor.
It's just reverse engineered from kinematics. Everybody knew that. It's just reverse engineering from kinematics. Come on. Just Newtonian physics. Like, people know that. It's so obvious.
Is that the solar panels of the ISS that are next to you there?
I like to think so. Let's see here. Oh, yep, they are. I just looked at them.
You tilt them slightly. I think they need more power. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Just move that a little bit.
Did you see in the video of us tricking Dave Weiss into a fake podcast when he showed the
Oh
AI
my
video?
God, you guys are ridiculous. That was the most insane freaking troll I've ever seen in my life.
It was so
you guys
good.
are truly professionals.
I fucking loved it. I absolutely adored it. I
Like
want to
a
get him again.
whole podcast.
Yeah,
you have to do it again. You have to do it so many times that he starts never being okay to be on any podcast ever.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. I want him to have PTSD about going on podcasts.
Yes, that's what you need. And you need to, you know what you could do? You could get like, maybe get like an actual podcast that's real to agree to let you do that at the real podcasts so that he's going to try to verify podcasts. But if you get like a real, like not Joe Rogan, but like an actual podcast that exists and talk to them and be like, okay, let me troll this guy using your podcast. Maybe they would like let you do that, and then he could actually never verify if a podcast is going to.
That is the plan I've got. I've got a couple of big podcasts that I think would maybe do it with me. And in answer of who is my favorite Star Trek DS9 character, quite clearly Quark.
Quark?
I mean, Quark is the best character in all of Star Trek.
I never watched a lot of Deep Space Nine.
You can get out.
You like that stuff? Should I watch it?
Star Trek Deep Space Nine is probably the best Star Trek.
No. You can get out.
There is a lot of people that would agree with me. Deep Space Nine is fucking incredible. It is the most Trek that you can get.
Damn. Okay. Well, you convincing
Plus, the
me.
whole Dominion War arc is just like some of the best stuff ever. When they have to fight the Klingons again for the first time since before the original series. Oh my God.
And is there like a time, are all the seasons great, or does it like get bad towards the end or anything?
All right. Well, the first season, like most Star Treks, is sometimes a tough watch, especially the move along home episode in the first season. But yeah, Bill Tetley for $2 says, glad to see you live, Craig. Love you, brother. I love you too, my friend. I really do. I love you all. Guys, I just want to say thank you very much for the love and support. I really do appreciate it. Just so you know, super chats really do help support the channel. And I know I've had issues with streaming a lot lately because I've had some depression issues I've been dealing with. So I know, honestly, super chats at the moment would really massively help boost the channel a bit more and help me keep going. So if you want to support the channel, we've got about another 5, 6, 7 minutes left. See how many super chats we can get in that time, and I'd really appreciate it. Remember, super chats are there for you to insult me directly, and I have to read out legally whatever you put in a super chat.
Mathematically, listen, bro, math describes things, okay? Science explains things. You can't, the point is that you need to offer an actual physical explanation. That's what physics is.
You said
what's going on to show us that it's
useful
possible.
on paper. What does that mean? It's useful on paper. I want you to admit what you're saying. What does it mean?
What do you mean? What does it mean? Yeah,
you said it's useful.
What do you mean? What does it mean?
You say it's useful. This is the thing that I think the best strategy to use towards a debater like Witsit is he tries to say something big and then move on as fast as possible, so you can't dig into how stupid he was, So I try to really do this with them where he says something and I don't let him get away. I try to hold him onto what he said, and so that he has to explain himself slowly and articulately so everyone realizes he's just full of shit every single time.
Paper. What does that mean?
Yeah, we use it to do, for example, engineering. We use Newtonian mechanics.
So predictions.
Sure.
So it's useful to make predictions about the world around us.
Sure.
Gotcha.
But this is
So
the problem.
that's what I have
And
been
I've
saying
already
this
said this.
entire
I've already said this. There are many equations that could be replaced with that can give you the exact same predictions. In fact, you don't even need dynamic.
Then give us one of these equations, Witsit.
You could just rebrand all of physics Witsit right now and call it Witsit Physics, but you don't. I wonder why you don't.
Yeah. And he keeps talking about equations, but I wonder if he could do a quadratic equation. Do you think he could?
I don't think he could do like long division.
I don't think he could do like basic addition.
I don't think he knows how to count to pass like 14.
Well, he needs, if he wants to count to 21, he needs to take off his pants.
Ooh.
And then it's only 20 and a half.
You use a kinematic equation to solve for 9.8. For little g, downward acceleration, you can use a purely kinematic equation with initial velocity, height, and time to get the same value. You can use an electrostatic equivalence to get little g. You can use an electromagnetic equivalence to get big g.
Wait, are you trying to say Newtonian physics is wrong?
Well, what I'm saying is that...
Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm actually saying is if you're going to claim the Earth's a ball flying around the sun and that gravity is causing all the planets to orbit, you need to provide us an actual big boy explanation of it, not just math. We need physics.
Not just math, also observation. That's my entire...
No, we need physical explanation.
So
That's
can
what
we move
physics
on to
is.
another subject? What's it? Are you okay with that?
Wait, this is the problem. Whenever you guys supposedly use satellites and you do all this stuff with satellites, you say that this is what you do. I want to show that even when people study this stuff, that they don't know it. Whenever you supposedly put a satellite up, you use Newtonian mechanics. Well, sure, it works mathematically, but that has huge implications physically. It accounts for real inertial forces, which is specifically impossible. And if Newtonian mechanics was true, right, then the Earth can't be orbiting. So why can't you use Einsteinian mechanics to solve for it? Because it's fundamentally different with the ECI. Because the atomic clocks account for their change of velocity relative to the center of the ECI frame. So you can't use Einsteinian mechanics, but you have to in your paradigm. So if you actually are putting satellites up, all it proves is that the Earth has to be stationary because you have to use a Newtonian mechanics. And
do you think they only use Newtonian mechanics to design satellites? Have you designed any satellites recently?
I haven't designed satellites.
Right, so you can't use either Newton or Einstein to do space travel, is what he's saying there.
It sounded like he's trying to say they make satellites work using only Newtonian physics, which is obviously not true.
Is fucking stupid.
No. Like, that shouldn't be even a question. Like, that's kind of the whole point.
Bill Tetley says you're going to play Satisfactory 1.2 experimental. Try it. It's awesome. Come on, Craig. Just one time. No pressure. One of us. I don't play Satisfactory on PC. I'm a console player. So 1.2, there is no experimental branch on console. So I'm still stuck on 1.1.6, I believe. I am looking forward to 1.2 because currently fucking vehicle pathing is atrocious and I hate it, which is why I only use trains and drones.
What does the new release come out with, 1.2?
They've completely changed how trucks and other road vehicles work. They've made it on the spline very much like laying a train track, which is brilliant. They have added things like daisy chaining machines, so you don't need power poles all over the fucking place, which is amazing. Make my build so much cleaner. They've added rain effects. They've added different modes like ability to randomize where the nodes are and stuff. You can change it so that the world's petroleum heavy or like iron heavy or like you can decide how you want the nodes spread around. There's a lot of changes that seem absolutely brilliant for like quality of life improvements. But especially you can zoop fucking signs. Oh my god.
And you only play on console?
Yes.
So you don't stream?
No.
That might be a vertical that you could get into.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me that I should stream Satisfactory, and maybe I will just do a stream of Satisfactory one day and show everyone my tower of efficiency. I could even go back to showing you my very first world, which was fucking so inefficient, but I did turn the entire swamp into a 75 nuclear reactor facility.
Dude, I mean, I feel like you are the kind of person who could talk through what you're doing in Satisfactory and make the stupidest thing entertaining and hilarious. So I think people would watch.
Right, Will, I think we're going to leave it there for tonight. And we will get you back next week at some point to continue this.
That sounds good with me. And remember, I'm laying a trap for Witsit here to get him to explain using the Walter Bislin flat Earth model. And I'm going to get him to humiliate himself on screen here. So you guys have to come back to watch the second half of this to see him fall into the trap.
I can't wait.
This debate.
I really can't wait. Will, thank you very much. Do you want to show out your channel? Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, Free Willful. Please come check us out. I'm going to be posting more debate stuff in the future. Right now, I'm on the fitness journey. You'll see some of the fitness shorts I have. I'm trying to post at least once a week, trying to show little updates of what I'm doing. I'm not going to flood your inbox with videos. So you'll just see little tidbits of what I'm doing every now and then. I try to make it entertaining. So come check me out, man. I appreciate all you guys so much.
Thank you very much. Well, I do appreciate it, mate. And we will get you back on. When are you free next week?
Thursday would be good. Thursday afternoon or Friday would probably be better.
Thursday works for me. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you very much again, and I will speak to you soon. I am absolutely shattered, so I'm going to be going to bed very, very soon.
All right, man. Me too. I'll see you guys.
Good job so far destroying Witsit, and I can't wait to finish this with you.
I love it, man. I'll see y'all later.
Catch you later, mate. Bye-bye. Hi, guys. Thank you very much. It's been a great couple of streams. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, what am I doing? Put this over here. The TikTok Flerf thing, I've just checked, and apparently I can stream tomorrow. So maybe tomorrow should be me going after the TikTok Flerfs. What do you reckon? I reckon that would be a good idea. Bill says, do you have a PC that can handle Satisfactory? I get your stream key if you do. Of course I do. I've got a fucking beast of a PC. I've got a 3070 Super in there. And one of the higher end AMD processors. Definitely able to. I'm just not really a PC gamer. All right, if you want me to do my TikTok thing tomorrow, what I need is help from the community, and I need people to send me a bunch of live TikTok streams with Flerfs in. And that's what we're going to do tomorrow. We will just go hunting for TikTok Flerfs, hunt for their live streams, and get those on. And that'll be a lot of fun. But thank you very much tonight, guys. I really do appreciate the love and support. If you've got any last super chats you want to get in, then feel free to help support the channel. It really does help me more than you can know. This is what I do full time. This is my job. So super chats are literally the lifeblood that allow me to continue what I'm doing. So if you want to support me, that's one of the best ways you can do it, and I really, really appreciate it. We're going to see out the show with a new video from Jirenism, which is a nice music video about Dave Weiss's clock app. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you tomorrow.
Hey. Yeah. Hey. I got rap bars about a little app, a debunked concept with a falsified map. It doesn't even work. Try it in the south as the sun goes back with a slap you cross your mouth. The flat earth, sun, moon, and zodiac clock app, but Dave doesn't have a clue about where the sun is at. He says it's in the sky, genius, that's nothing new, but he knows the globe's a lie and he's here to save you. Just get the app, download the lie. Yes, you too can be retarded for only $3.99, so push the app, push it hard. You can trust Dave to treat your data with little to no regard. This goes out to an old friend, suck a day. A con man taking this lie to his grave, so lying to his followers, pushing that crap app. You're a shitty human, Dave. You prove that. Woo! Dave, it's time to give it up, you dumb fuck. Your app has been debunked and it objectively sucks. Woo! Ask yourself why? Why does David Weiss tell all these lies? Spin it all day, sell it all night. Same old story and never once been right. Slide in the stream with the grin so fake, sharing his nonsense like, can you fall off a lake? Dumb. Got a level and a camera, thinks he cracked the code, says the horizon is really the horizontal eye zone. Spectroscopy needs a container, bro, please. You mixing up the science like a bad recipe. Say the sun's got mad gravity holding Pluto tight, but the moon is unaffected. He's not that dumb, right? He has a new sidekick angels of shite, destroys every glober and any food in sight. He lives with his mommy and he was put here to be great. He's great, alright, great at being overweight. He thinks planes need to dip their nose down, cause if on a globe it's the only way to fly around. So someone smart explained it to him slowly. Did shite get it? No, he was off eating ravioli. Dave has nothing left, his map shattered like glass. Every time a new question hit, he pivot fast. No map, no model, and no clue, imagine that. And he still has no fucking clue where the South Pole's even at. Space is fake, yeah, we heard that speech. Dave's worldview can't make it past the beach. You say clouds are behind the sun? That's wild. Plasma ball, laser suns projected 10 miles. Talk slick like you solved the game. Same script, same old trap, let me guess. Water lies level, now go by my ass. This goes out to an old friend. I went on a trip south, never heard from him again. Woo! Lying to his followers, pushing their crap out. It's been debunked 1,000%, and that's fact. So get the app, download the lie. Yes, you too can be retarded for only $3.99. Push the app, repeat their line. You can't tell the shape of the ground, looking at lights in the sky. Wow, my, oh my. The 24-hour Sunday means it's time. Yes, it's time to give it up. It's over. Bye-bye. I ain't talking from a couch or a guest. I went south and saw the sun never rest. Watched it circle, yeah, it circles right to left. You should put your little Gleason's map to the test. Used to ride for the same exact crew. Same claim, same script, same we knew. Then I stepped outside, changed my view. Crazy what a little bit of truth can do. This goes out to an old friend, that's you, Dave. Taking this grift all the way to the grave. Lying to the people just to push his crap app. As you know, Dave, the AE map, yeah, I debunked that. You said 3 Bitcoin for just 1 globe proof. You're not a truther, Dave. Truthers are after the truth. For the 3 Bitcoins, your instructions were just go. Go down, film the 24-hour sun. Prove the earth is a globe. Well, that's what we did. We filmed it, saw it, it's over. Lying to children, Dave. How do you keep your composure? You're pushing the lie. Aren't you ashamed of what you do? You lost a friend, Dave. All I lost was a... That's you. That's not from NASA, Dave. You made it up. You're teaching people lies and calling it waking up. Yuck. Ask for a sword, he tightens up. Ask for a debate, he runs away. When he thinks of Dave Farina, he gets very afraid. His balls shrivel up like 2 wrinkled grapes. Loses another hair on his head, he's down to 38. Dave is so brave, he handles detractors with ease. He takes the memes to YouTube and says, block these demons, please. What about that AI video of the spacewalk you showed? You realize that wasn't NASA, Dave, you've hit a new low. Just keep lying, pretend your map isn't trash. The flat earth, sun, moon, and zodiac don't work, clock app. You won't come back to the globe, you have no integrity at all. Dave, it's over, poser. You live on a ball. The flat earth, sun, moon, and zodiac don't work, clock app.
That is the new song by Jirenism. Go and check it out on his channel. Yeah, I did bleep a couple of words there because I don't know how YouTuber like the certain things that were said. And I probably don't agree with the way that certain things were phrased. But hey, anyway. Thank you guys for watching. And Randy Lay for $5 says, when Chuck Norris's girlfriend lost her V card, he went out and got it back. Yes, yes, indeed, indeed. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I really do appreciate it. I love you all. Not you, Gary. You know what you did. I will see you tomorrow for some TikTok Flerf destroying. As long as TikTok allow me to stream, that is. See you then. Remember, stupidity's not a right. Fight the flat earth.